Time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts. Chessable. Take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Sam Shankland. I was the US champion in 2018. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if I believe there is an easy solution to something, I'm giving it. No questions asked. Thanks much, and I wish you the best for all your studying.
Another day, another way for me to open up to you.
Hello, this is Christoph Zielecki and welcome to my Keep It Simple 1D4 course.
When I saw her for the first time, it was love at first sight. I love how rich and complex she is, how sharp and principled her first steps, how graceful her movement. Paris is the city of love. I've come to find my love for the French defense.
It doesn't look like much, but neither would a Sicilian defense to the untrained eye. This is a performance enhancer. You don't see it? How about now? Manage your air quality, sharpen your performance, change the game with
Imagine an ultimate quant challenge, where your unique way of thinking could propel you further while competing against some of the best. The International Quant Championship 2023. A three-stage competition where teams of 1 to 4 people will use World Quant's brain simulation platform to build algorithms. Ready, set, quant. Competitors gain points based on the quality and the quantity of their ideas. Those who perform well may be considered for internship or full-time employment opportunities at World Quant. Winners could receive cash prizes and attend the live global finals in the Bahamas. Don't wait. Break into the world of quantitative finance in one of the largest quant competitions on the planet. Sign up. Team up. Train. Compete. Are you the next quant champion?
Hello and welcome to day 3 of the Chessable Masters Division 2 coverage. And we're getting nearer and nearer to the so-called business end of it, which I'm enjoying greatly. And with me is my good friend Peter Leko. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, hi Peter. Hello everyone. Yes. Well, I mean, first of all, there is a matchup that I'm really waiting for, and I'm very eager to see MVL versus Vladimir Kramnik. I think this is the biggest clash, and I want to see that we have been seeing Vladimir Kramnik outclassing everyone so far in the tournament, and I think that with MVL he gets his match, and I'm very excited how it will go.
Yeah, it's definitely the highlight of today. But the other semifinal is also a fantastic story in and of itself, because it's Nuribek Abdusatorov, who is a very established top player despite his very young age, playing against somebody who is younger than him and somebody who is, I think, relatively unknown, even though that feels unfair. And we spend every portion of every day talking about how strong Denis Lazovic is and how weird it seems that he is not as well known as it seems he should be. But there he is in the semifinals of Division 2, having beaten some very strong players along the way. He beat Dubov, and he beat
Vincent yesterday.
Vincent Keimer yesterday. So really, really impressed by him, and I keep on being impressed by him whenever I see him, whenever I play against him. I do have some experience with playing against Denis in online tournaments. He's just a very talented young player who should have, I think, broader recognition as an up and coming talent. So we have a kind of a classical matchup there, and MVL these days, definitely is on the experience side of the spectrum, and then the two youngsters in the other semifinal. And we also have the lower bracket, where there's a lot of very exciting matchups as well.
Yeah, I mean, also when we are talking about the two youngsters facing each other, and people, for example, think about MVL and Vladimir Kramnik, like the older generation. Well, there is like a 15 years gap between the two gentlemen, right?
Yes. Vladimir, and we were talking about it a little bit off air when we were preparing for the show, and Vladimir has been massively impressive in this tournament. He's been playing really well. He seems incredibly motivated to do well, to show people that he's still the force to be reckoned with. And so far, he was, as Peter was describing it during our live shows, he's been really outplaying everybody. He is showing the kind of chess that we are used to seeing from him, even now when he's clearly not as active. But today will be no disrespect to his previous opponents, but today will be the real test. If he does the same to MVL, then it really starts bordering on legendary status.
Exactly. I mean, the point also, and we are getting some boards. Oparin against Giri has started. It's on the losers bracket. We also have Vincent Keimer against Alexei Dreyev. Just as yesterday, the losers bracket guys are starting a bit earlier. Somehow they are more motivated or more eager to start their games.
Yeah, I think it's just protocol. I think they start these a little bit earlier, and then they start the winners. So in the losers bracket, as you mentioned, we have Anish, who lost to Nuribek in round. Yeah, and then he beat Raunak Sadvani yesterday in an Armageddon game. He's playing against Oparin, who lost to Kramnik yesterday. Vincent, who lost to Lazovic, is playing against Dreyev. We also have Arjun Erigaisi against Yuan Yi, and one more pair, which hasn't started yet, but which will appear on the screen in a second. And just to put something on the board for our viewers to watch, Arjun appears to be very serious about playing the Verisov. The Verisov London. I don't know what you even call it, because I think very classical Verisov involves white, specifically white playing bishop g5, and Arjun is developing it to f4, which is a bit of a different beastie. He did this yesterday against Nuribek in a game that he should have won and qualified for the semis, but instead somehow lost in severe time trouble. And he's doing it again today against Yuan Yi.
Yeah, that was a real heartbreak for Arjun. I mean, it looked like he is almost guaranteeing his spot in the semifinals by having that completely winning position. And now just the next day to play another match. Yeah, of course, luckily he has another shot, right? Because this is a double knockout event. And there are all these kind of discussions also that do people like the double knockout or not? In this regard, we also see the big positive. Yeah, like how unfair it would have been for Arjun to be knocked out of the competition with that game yesterday.
Yeah, I personally, I feel like I saw some comments on social media over the last couple of days where people, I would assume maybe of my generation, saying that they're not really fans of the double elim and it doesn't belong in chess. I don't really understand this, and without really meaning to call anyone out, I feel like there is a little bit of a generational shift, and people are just maybe somewhat, unwilling to try new things. Because for me, it feels very natural when you're playing these shorter time controls, where I also really dislike the whole narrative of these short knockout matches being a lottery. They're not a lottery, but accidents definitely do happen. And having a chance to recover from one disaster seems like a very natural fix. So it's not very obvious to me why people are seemingly not on board with this development. But there is some pushback, which honestly surprised me.
Well, I had a conversation during the Bundesliga weekend, and there was an argument which also is very interesting, and logical, that in a knockout, if you are knocked out, you should not get a chance to get back through the back door. Yeah, this of course also exists, but it's a kind of a very specific thing. I mean, knowing what happened yesterday, and also we have seen the Prague versus MVL with this mouse slip that he blundered his queen, otherwise he still had a chance to maybe fight back his way to the match. And then getting another chance not being knocked out from the tournament feels kind of fair.
Yeah, and also another example would be, and I mean, he's not in the tournament anymore because he lost yesterday to Daniel Dubov, but Georg Meyer losing that game to Vincent Keimer, where he blundered mate in one in a position where he was winning and needed a draw. And, ending your entire tournament like that should feel unbelievably painful, and knowing that you still can come back through the lower bracket. I honestly, I don't quite understand the opposition. We get more chess played by very, very strong players. We mitigate the disaster of having a particularly bad day by giving people a second chance. And I don't know. I just don't really understand why that would be bad. A curious thing I wanted to ask you very briefly, because I've been keeping a bit of an eye on positions, and this is the position in the game between Aparin and Giri. Can we do this?
I think this is some kind of a theory.
I have no idea. Like these openings are completely alien to me. So I just saw a tactic and I wanted to ask you about the tactic because it's a cute tactic.
No, absolutely justified. I think it goes king takes f7, queen b3 check. And then black does it include c4 or not? This is a question.
Yeah, you could. You could force me to put the queen on c4 here for sure. Yeah,
and then some king g6, f5 check, and then king h6. That was again Vincent Keimer against Jonas Bjerre already.
This actually all happened. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yes, it happened.
I didn't know.
And I think both players were already prepared back then. The two youngsters knew all this. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, and then I assume you have all kinds of options like this or this, and the game continues. Yeah.
Yeah, many things. I think the computer evaluates it as a 0-0 as usual. Yeah, that
unsurprising. Yeah, unsurprising.
Everything under control. Let's take a look if Grigory is ready to go for it, because it's the principal way, of course.
In the meantime, we have a sharp Slav in the game between Vincent Keimer and Alexei Dreyev, which started as a sort of a pure Chebanenko by move 5. Vincent kept the pawn on d2 for a while, but then played d4 and move 5, and then knight h4, bishop b6. I don't think I've ever seen this. It looks very fancy and not really all that great. I think Dreyev is weirdly kind of mixing a little bit of everything into what he's doing today. And the current position seems extremely suspect to my eyes because f4, f5 is a massive threat. And if you have to play f7, f5 yourself, you're just denying yourself all kinds of counterplay. You also might just be losing to g4. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if g4 was extremely strong here as well. So, yeah, it seems like Alexei has been a little bit too imaginative today.
Yeah, also we should mention that, in the losers bracket, we only have 2 games matches. So the stakes are much, much more higher for each move. Each mistake can cost the match.
Absolutely. And we finally have the game 4 in the lower bracket there, starting with Prague playing the white pieces against Daniel Dubov. And this is a pure London. Prague played bishop f4 here. And they got this position, which is, I think, something that Magnus has been doing quite a bit in the Londons, just sort of transposing into these types of structures where it's never very much, but it's very often not entirely nothing either. You do get a little bit of a pull because you're slightly better developed. But obviously, with these 2 pawns very likely coming off the board pretty soon, black having no weaknesses, you're not going to be achieving a lot out of the opening. But it's a playable position.
Basically, a London turns into a Queen's Gambit, something like this.
Yeah, with the dark square bishops also coming off very quickly, which is... I think strategically it's good for white, but it's an additional pair of pieces just being exchanged, which is normally a good idea for the side that is defending. And I mean, defending, not a lot of defending going on yet. I think black is kind of healthy here. We can play b6 because I think c4, c5 is maybe the only really ambitious try. If black leaves this on the table for too long, we might want to play c5, I don't know, knight b3 and try to play on the queen side. So starting with b6 would have been logical. Dubov starts with a5, which also looks completely fine.
Yeah, because I think the justification that now if you play c5, black is already kind of breaking up things. Maybe even queen e7 or queen c7, but the point is that b6 comes,
b6 comes extremely quickly, and with this pawn being isolated on before, we've also removed the pawns on the a file. Therefore, the rook on a8, without moving from its starting position, is now developed pretty much because it will be quite active on the open file. Yeah, this doesn't look bad at all. And in fact, Prague just goes b5 here, which looks kind of ugly, but considering the alternatives, is maybe the only way to, preserve some life in the position. But yeah, I'm starting to sort of like this for black.
Yes, it's a very healthy position.
Yeah.
It's also the line, because this queen b6, the move 5, queen b6 is a relatively fresh direction, and I think that many top players, Dingley and Dominguez, has all jumped on this move order. So I think it has a very good reputation because you kind of provoke rook b1 and then you play bishop d6. And the point is that when white takes on c5, you don't have to recapture with the bishop. You can take with the queen and you are trading the bishop. So it's a very ambitious way of liquidating and shutting down white's initiative.
Yeah, I think it's become very fashionable. I'm a little bit surprised. Well, I mean, not really. I understand that probably the engine says nothing works. But the way the white players play the London these days, I'm a little bit surprised people aren't trying to just leave the pawn on b2 on prise. But I guess there is no good developing move here to make, because you would like maybe to play bishop d3, but that would allow c5, c4, and you will be quite unhappy. The one way to maybe play a gambit here would be to play c4 yourself. And then I assume the engine just says, no, it doesn't work, don't do that.
Well, I believe that there had been a couple of games where white tried the move c4, and it came down if black was prepared or not, because I believe that there were games when black completely equalized very easily or had absolutely no problems, and sometimes black was also running into some trouble if he was not ready for it.
Yeah, so this is, hang on a second, that's not actually the position, this is the position. b6, c takes d5 played instantly by Prague, because I think he needs to do it sooner rather than later, because if you let black finish development, black might start taking on d5 with a piece. And Prague obviously would very much like to at least have a nice Alani on d5 to work against. And yeah, that's what he will have. But still, with the bishop on b7, or now maybe even develop it to e6 or f5, but I think it probably still goes to b7 to cover the c6 square. This knight will be on c5 pretty soon. One rook to c8, one rook to e8. This knight has a very nice square on e4. Looks very healthy for black.
Yeah, it's like old school position. Yeah, it's black should be perfectly fine. I mean, just holding. Yeah, it's of course white is not running any risk. White is probably the one who is microscopically better, but
probably
just so easy. Like Arshak Petrosyan, my father-in-law and trainer, used to say, this is like a Bagirov position. Yeah, Bagirov, a very famous Soviet grandmaster, would just sit and you would not be able to touch him at all.
Yep. In the meantime, the upper bracket is also starting. We'll switch to that in a second. I will just show the position in the game between Vincent Keimer and Alexei Dzeev. This is a dream. This is an absolute dream for white. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the engine already started screaming white is winning. It kind of does look winning. You just go like b3, you put the knight on c5. You can also play, I don't know, rook f3, rook h3, and ask black, what is this bishop doing on h6? Black's position is just full of horrible strategic weaknesses. And this is what I meant about f4, f5. You don't really want to allow white to play f5, but if this is your best reply, even if g4 that is not very strong, you're just strategically busted by very, very simple means. And Vincent is currently showing that. But having said that, we've covered to a degree all of the lower bracket games, and let's switch to the upper. Notebek against Denis Lazovic is some kind of a slightly offbeat Catalan.
Yeah, Queen d3. This is
d3.
This is a surprise.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, but my biggest question is, if I just do this, what's the big idea? Maybe the queen just goes somewhere, and if I play b5,
no, Peter, there is a very big catch, yeah, because here the point is I used to play this with black, that if instead of queen d3, white plays the move queen c2.
Okay.
You are not supposed to take dc, but you are supposed to play c5.
No, after queen c2, yes, but with the queen on d3, maybe it's...
Yeah, but anyway, after dc, queen c4, a6, then white can try to benefit of not having castles. So maybe
bishop f4 or something, yeah?
Yeah, something, yeah.
Yeah, and c5 played by Denis anyway, and Notebek just instantly castles, which is what they also do with the queen on c2. I've actually even tried this myself with the queen on c2, not with the queen on d3. It's not supposed to give you very much in those positions. Here, I mean, if anything, I would suspect it's actually slightly less well positioned on d3 than it is on c2, because with the queen on c2, the reply, or at least one of the replies, is this. And if you go here with the queen here, bishop a6 becomes maybe a slightly bigger problem than it would be.
Yeah, I had the same feeling, yeah, that now, of course, queen c2 will be so much more nicer.
We'll keep them thinking this will be a kind of a slower game. And we also do want to watch this battle and look at them being all modern and stuff. MVL playing e4, which is good to see, because he has been toying with the idea of switching to d4 openings, but back to his spiritual home. Vlad saying, I am a Neidorf player now. And MVL saying, no, you're not. And going for this, which is bizarrely, this has become very, very topical, and a lot of people have been trying this with white. What's your opinion on this? What was your first reaction when you saw this for the first time? What was your reaction?
I think the first time it was Magnus Carlsen against Radek Wojtaszek in Shamkir tournament, maybe. That's when I recall. That's how I recall, and I believe that Peter Nielsen was commentating this game later on, and he was revealing that they got this idea from some Greek theoretician. Yeah, maybe Sotis can help us out. I don't want to call some wrong name out, but yes, exactly. FIDE master Ioannidis Simonidis. This is his idea, and Magnus got this idea from him and went on to implement it, and I believe he beat Radek in a very nice manner. And ever since this has been tried. People have been trying it against Maxim himself. Now Maxim have picked it up with white as well. But the big news is that apparently Vladimir Kramnik has some laptop issue and he's playing from his phone.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah, just watching Vlad become a mobile gamer.
Wow.
You know, as a mobile gamer myself, I find it extremely funny. I'm pretty sure Vladimir spent exactly 0 minutes actually playing any games on his mobile. Like I would be willing to make a reasonably substantial bet that he has 0 minutes of any game on his mobile, apart from maybe chess. Even chess, I don't know. Maybe today is the first day he's actually playing chess on the phone as well. So yeah, this is a good time for him to try out new things. I mean, I'm not sure he finds it funny, but sort of funny for us.
Yeah, and he picks up the challenge. I believe that he opted for knight f6. The main theoretical move is g6, and then going for some quick bishop h6.
Yeah, I think the main line weirdly looks something like this. Yeah?
Yes, exactly.
And it becomes very weird very quickly. But instead, Vladimir goes knight f6, b3, e6, and pushes d6, d5, which seems strange to give yourself an isolani just as white is castling queenside, seemingly getting a lot of pressure against that isolani. But I'm sure Vlad knows what he's doing. And the current position is like this, a3, bishop c5. I'm a bit curious why this knight wasn't aimed at the f4 square, why even h3 I thought wasn't entirely stupid. But MVL develops in a more classical fashion, and this is the current position. What do we think?
Well, looks good for white, yeah, somehow.
Well, how do we solve the problem of a3 hanging?
Well, the big question that maybe we can just play b4 and go for the tempo play.
Yeah, that would
can.
I don't know, but like that's why I asked, because if the bishop goes somewhere, then I really hate black's position.
Exactly.
I guess that's what you were trying to say. Like if I play something like bishop d6 or bishop b6, and you play, I don't know, rook h1, or even knight b5, knight bd4, or knight g5, or anything.
Exactly.
It looks like we're having an absolutely dream position with white. But I'm a bit worried this might work, because I want to play queen c5 or queen c7 or something next move, and the spin might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's annoying, and Maxim actually doesn't want any of it. He goes king a2, just protecting the pawn.
That's a very curious looking move. Okay, now I want to ask, if we play d4, where does it go?
Well, knight e4 runs into takes bishop
exactly.
b3.
This is why I brought this up. Yeah.
Yes.
This is obviously very good for black. So we're choosing between this and this, I would assume. Knight a4, I'm generally not a huge fan, but maybe it's playable. But this, with knight f4 to follow,
yeah, probably this is
the
direction. Yeah,
might be okay.
Yeah, and okay, rook he1, knight f4. If we get that, we are super happy. Of course, black will try to be super fast.
Yeah. What else do we have apart from this? Like we can try rook fd8 with the idea of knight e4, so that d4 will use the X-ray along the d file. But it seems slow. Rook he1 seems like a very strong reply.
Yes.
It does feel like black needs to be quite fast here. It feels like if you give white 1 or 2 moves here to finish development, to finish bringing pieces in, you will not like the outcomes very much.
Wow, but I also have to give big credit to Vladimir that even against Maxim, he was ready to go for the knight off.
Yeah, he is. I think he's just very serious about these things. Like when he starts trying out new things, he commits fully. And also, as an additional layer to this, both he and Dubov, I mean, they played each other yesterday in the Armageddon tournament in Berlin. They're playing from the same hotel. And I saw what I assume was the final moments of that Armageddon game, because I think their match did go to Armageddon. And Vladimir actually managed to flag Daniel Dubov at some point they both had 1 second, and Vladimir was actually mechanically faster with like the final position. There were a lot of pieces on the board. I mean, lying flat on the board, not just standing on the board, but being, being horizontal on the board. It was a proper no increment Armageddon. So it's kind of interesting to see Vladimir fully embracing this kind of new culture of throwing pieces around and banging on the clock and being the fastest.
And he opted for d4 and d4 92 on the board. Well, I also have this feeling, that it's very easy to flag me online because I'm just super slow. But if somebody wants to flag me overboard, that's already an art, because I was also very fast, and I remember you have been incredibly fast always.
Yeah. And the other semi-final in that tournament was Noribek against Gukesh. And this one, I don't know how it finished. I should be better prepared, I guess, it was not a semi-final, says Satiris, so they were all they were all quarterfinals. Okay, I'm behind. But yeah, there's also that tournament going on, and the reason we bring it up is that it's a very rare, I think, case where people are basically playing 2 reasonably high-profile tournaments at exactly the same time, which you don't see very often.
For sure.
So he just goes Rook FD8 here. I was wondering if he's planning to start sacrificing stuff, but apparently not. He goes Rook FD8. I guess we go
Knight F4.
Yeah, I think we go Knight F4. What I would like to achieve with Black is to somehow get, all of these ideas on the board. But so let me ask you a question. If I okay, he actually goes Rook HE1 here. He waits for a move, which I assume means that he believes he will be able to just take on d4 here if this happens, right?
Yeah.
That would be the reason to postpone the Knight F4 move, because while it's still on e2, it keeps an eye on the d4 pawn. And indeed, I don't see any refutation for it.
Yeah, and this explains that maybe after Knight F4, Black would have just played Knight D5, traded that knight.
That was exactly my question. If I play Knight D5, which of the light pieces do you even take? Probably E6,
but hang
right?
on, because Knight E6 you can't take with the queen because of Bishop H7, so it's that's a problem.
F6 is very ugly. Yeah, if you have to play F6, you're not really happy about your position.
Definitely.
Even like endgames like this could be extremely unpleasant. Whoa! Vladimir is going in.
Wow, but against MVL, I mean, MVL is so sharp, I don't think that you can gamble, so it has to work or it will simply lose the game.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't really feel like he has enough attackers here. I was looking at Queen G5 because I wanted to stop Knight D5 from happening. It does allow Rook C5, but my biggest question here is, do I even have to worry about this Rook on A5? Does it do anything? Like, it's only one attacker. If you take on E1, I think basically you resign because none of your other pieces will ever join your quote-unquote attack. So my worry here would be a move like Bishop A3, maybe, trying to get the queen to A3. But then we go, I don't know, Bishop takes D4. Really feels like all of these guys are way, way too far from where the supposed mate is to be given.
Yeah, I feel like Vladimir got overexcited with playing on the phone or something, because
or alternatively he just played. Yeah, alternatively he just didn't like his position and wanted to gamble. Queen F4 played, which apparently is also fine. I did want to stop Knight D5, but I guess MVL assumes it doesn't do anything. So if we take on E1 here, let's say Rook E1 and we go Knight D5 and we go Knight before check next move. Isn't that something?
Well, it is something. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised, that how quickly Maxim opted for Queen F4, so he has to see something, otherwise Queen G5 looks so much more natural.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised because specifically the arrival of this knight on b4 was the one thing that I would very much want to avoid if this was my position, because I would have felt that that's how I give legitimate counterplay to black. But maybe you just go back to d2, honestly, and you go back to b1 and you say, I will, be patient for a few more moves, and then I will go knight e takes d4 and the attack will disappear. Maybe it's just that. Bishop p1 played in the meantime, so I think we will see MVL's plan pretty soon.
Yeah, well, did he get carried away? Did he think that bishop takes e1 is simply not a move because, okay, this is the only attacking piece and why should it be traded?
Yeah, there's also maybe some argument for taking with the knight, because further supporting all of these squares is not that stupid to be like, just go back again, but just make sure that all of your light squares are covered additionally. So maybe this is why he is pausing right now. But honestly, I would prefer to have the rook on the open file. I don't think it's needed. I think this is safe enough.
Yeah, very important that you keep your structure intact. Yeah, that you can always recapture with a piece on d3.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And knight e1 on the board.
Knight e1 played, yeah. Okay. Interesting. In the meantime, I think Noribek is outplaying Dennis here. After castles knight c6, they got all the pawns off the board. And yeah, this is not how it's supposed to go for black, because you end up in this very, very typical Catalan situation where, everything is more or less equal, apart from the fact that white has this monster on g2 and black has this really poor bishop on c8. And in order to solve it, he was forced, well, not forced, but kind of provoked into pushing e5 and f6, and now this looks incredibly suspect. You even have to wonder if I can just go after the b7 pawn somehow, or knight d2, knight c4 looks very promising, and knight h4, knight f5 looks very promising, and this is what he does, yeah.
Yeah, so the only problem white has in this position that you have too many good alternatives.
Exactly, yeah, too many choices. Yeah. Too many choices. We'll return to that, but yeah, seems like Noribek is, at least to some degree, in control here. So let's go back to MVL versus Kramnik, because this is I think the position that is likely to be defined pretty soon. Either Vlad finds something here or he doesn't, and then he is in trouble.
Yeah,
do we see anything at all?
No, not really. And of course, also a little bit tricky that we see the evaluation bar not believing in black's position. This we have to, of course, say that if it would show that it's more or less balanced, it would be closer to my heart, because I really feel like black sacrificed the piece. I would love if black would have enough counterplay, but I just don't see it, and even evaluation bar agrees with this assessment.
Yeah, it does feel like it's just not enough. It feels that, yeah, the moment this pawn disappears off the board, all of your threats kind of go with it. It's not just that white's pieces open up, but also you no longer have really any access to the c3 square. The knight on d4 further protects, just as the knight on e1 does, further protects all of the potential tactical shots against your structure. I mean, you can try some a5, a4 play, but it just doesn't feel like it's going to be fast enough. Might still be your best bet, honestly. Try to at least open one more file somewhere.
Yeah, somehow to eliminate one of these c2, b3 pawns, because these pawns are just giving a lovely shelter for white's king, and of course this bishop on b2 is a monster.
Yep.
Yeah, Vladi in a lot of trouble, and he also doesn't have a natural follow-up. He's burning time. And this is another big problem.
Yeah.
And hang on, I see that Anish Giri against Grigori Yapadin already starting their second.
Yeah, the first game was a draw. In the lower bracket, we have a draw in Anish's game. Prague is actually doing quite well against Dubov in that position that we thought was quite good for black. Vincent is still completely winning against Dreyev. Nothing changed there. and Arjun is a bit better against Yuan Yi, but we'll stay with this for now because I don't think it's possible to catch up to everything, and the upper bracket has to be the more relevant one. Bishop G4 is a choice I did not expect. Wow. Trying to provoke F3, but like, why is F3 such a bad move? I guess we go, like, we want to play knight E3 somewhere, but where? Bishop H5, knight takes D4, knight E3 here, but it doesn't really do very much. Maybe we want to trade this bishop.
Yeah, I think that this bishop G4 is a typical move, and you are not satisfied with your position. You don't know what to do, and then you have to make a move.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, it's just a kind of a panicky decision because your time is running out. Nothing really satisfies you at all, and you end up just making a move to make a move. Yeah, this is the position. You can start with bishop G6, but the problem is, even if you do manage to trade that bishop pair, which is an achievement, I mean, it is legitimately a good thing for black to be able to trade the bishop pair, but even if white just does something very kind of naive and simple, it's still horrible for black.
Yeah.
It's not really a massive improvement.
Yeah, where is the counterplay? This knight on D3 and knight on D4 sitting beautifully protected by the bishop on B2 and the pawn on C2. All the squares are covered. Yeah, very hard to imagine.
This doesn't look great. And in the other one, this is currently the position. And by this point, it really does feel like there should be a way to win some material. At least the B7 pawn should somehow fall. If I go knight D6, I assume you play queen D7 or something, right? And I can play B4 maybe. And if you play bishop B6, other order, right? Yeah, other order. We go knight B7, queen B7, bishop B6.
Yeah.
And we take on C6 next move. Maybe there's something even stronger, and I think Noribek probably will spend some time looking for something even stronger. But it does feel that there should be a way to cash in at least a little bit.
Yeah, he started with B4.
He started with B4. Yeah, I was a bit like I was wondering why we're allowing bishop C7. But maybe he's actually kind of okay with this. Yeah, just collect the entire queen side.
Yeah.
I don't really like the idea of giving up this bishop, but if it's for the entire queen side, maybe it's okay.
Yeah, and then the bishop on C7 will be vulnerable as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, probably we should go back to Vladimir, because Vladimir is coming up with the idea you have been mentioning that A5, A4 has to be played, good or bad, it has to, and it's on the board.
Yeah, he did do this, and at least now he has one good square to aim for. And if the A4 pawn falls, there will be maybe some additional counterplay. I like what he's done, because if he passes forever, if he gives white time to get all of their ducks in a row, you will never save this position with black. But yeah, this shouldn't be enough. Hang on a second.
On the other hand, there is this aura of Vladimir, yeah, that when he gets the initiative, the only problem for him, I believe, that he's facing MVL, and MVL is not impressed by all these things.
Yeah, this is now a problem, because if you take on A4, I think knight E5 might just be completely winning. So after queen B4, you suddenly, like, you have to play knight C4, I guess. But then
you can go knight E5, trade the knights.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is just very strong. Just get rid of this one good piece that black has. And I mean, what do you think, by the way, if we, as a kind of a thought experiment, if we remove the pawn A4 from the board here, this is sort of tricky, right?
Yes, exactly.
But it's still on the board, so this should be...
Yeah, you can even play some rook B5, yeah, put queen on B3, king A2, and then just enjoy everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Vladimir chooses knight D5, not knight C4, but yeah, this does have a... you get the feeling that he is not really... He doesn't really believe in his salvation himself anymore.
Yeah, this is looking hopeless. Yeah, I'm very sorry for Vladimir that he has such an important match against MV and he has to play from the phone. I mean, as you see it, he's not a gamer. Yeah, this is a very strange situation.
Yeah, and I mean, it feels like we're making excuses for him, but legitimately it would have been incredibly annoying for him, and not just having to play from the phone, but he's not playing from the phone because he suddenly decided that he wants to show off and be hip and with it. He's playing from the phone because something kind of bad happened to his laptop. So basically his preparation for the round today would have been him frantically trying to fix his laptop. And as somebody who has technical issues a lot, I can imagine just how frustrated he would have been as, the clock is ticking down and he's supposed to, log in, and there's probably, there usually is, there's like this double Zoom call where you're supposed to be, there's one Zoom call where you share your screen, and the other Zoom call where you're supposed to show your room, so to make sure that no hanky-panking is going on. And instead of all that, he just can't get anything to work. It's an unbelievably unpleasant experience. And then he has to play from the phone, which is, I'm very, very certain he has zero experience of doing that. So yeah, not great.
And facing MVL, yeah.
And facing MVL, yeah.
Yes, which by itself would be already very, very big challenge, but this, it's yeah. Okay, this position is lost. Yeah, just lost.
Yeah, we there's not very much to talk about here. Let's actually switch maybe to the other one for a second. This looks like there should be just a solution here somehow. Bishop takes d4 looks like it's winning, but it's not winning immediately because this move exists. But there has to be a solution of some sort. Also, there is a very cute trap here. You should not be trying to. For a second there, you might think you caught the queen on c7, but it does have.
Well, my instinct was to just kick this knight away with e3, or then you have knight b3 move.
Yeah, you still have to calculate this a little bit, but maybe there's rook d1 check. I was going to say maybe we can just play rook c3 here, but that's also not entirely clear because you will have to calculate rook d1 bishop f1, and I think most people's default, you don't ever want to even start calculating this.
Yes,
it feels wrong.
This is the point. Yeah, e3 runs into knight b3, so you can't kick this knight away. Then okay, there is some intrigue in the position.
Definitely. 4 minutes against minute 45. Roughly for the players, so Norbek is in control on the clock. Similarly, you might want to actually get the knight to c5, but once again, let's not blunder queen c1. Let's basically never blunder queen c1. What are the good options then? Because there has to be a good option, but everything we've shown so far is not great.
Can we just go back 2 moves to understand what were the last 2 moves?
So before bishop b6, knight d6, queen c7 was chosen, not queen b7, not queen d7. And he played knight takes b7, knight d4. He played queen b2 here, and rook d7. And he ends up just choosing a kind of a pragmatic solution: bishop d4, bishop d4. Maybe queen b1.
Yeah, I would love to get knight c5 in. And yeah, maybe just to keep that tempo.
Yeah, queen b1, queen b6. I don't think I'm playing e3, but maybe I am. Maybe I shouldn't really be all that afraid of this, yeah? Because I don't see any...
Okay, rook d2. Queen e4.
Yeah, it's not like you never really want to give this much activity, but it's a piece. So if we survive, we win.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you can also give the argument just to play knight c5 instead of e3. And queen b1 on the board.
Yeah, queen b1 on the board. I don't think there's much choice here for Denis. The queen really, b8 is not going to be an improvement on the b6 square. Unless you're worried about some rook c8, queen h7, but your mate is quicker. Do that because bishop takes f2 delivers mate on the other side much faster than all of these threats. Yeah, queen b6 played and knight c5 played very, very quickly by Norbek, who doesn't really want to spend any time calculating all of that bishop takes e3 stuff. In the meantime, MVL, I think, has won his game.
Yeah, no surprise there. And also here, Lazovic in a lot of trouble because, okay, he's pawn done, he's behind on the clock, and it's not really visible where the compensation lies. He goes for rook c7. He's trying to...
What were you taking with here, by the way?
With the rook.
Because my default solution was also... But then I thought, this is not bad either. Like, I get it to c6 very quickly.
Yes.
I get it to c6 very quickly, and it's also pretty strong. So he goes rook c7 instead. Honestly, the problem for black is this king is, because f6 and d5 was played, this king is so unsafe that really I have a suspicion even this is just completely winning.
Yes.
Like some move like a4 here. If these pawns were one square back, it's probably closer to a draw. But with the pawns on f6 and d5, trying to maintain your queen side while also trying not to get mated would become impossible very, very quickly, I think.
And it's on the board.
All of these moves on the board, yes. So
yes.
Yeah, I think this is a very good practical decision by Nordebek. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Exactly. I mean, okay, black has 0 counterplay. He has to watch out not to lose on the spot. Besides, I'm not even sure he can avoid not to lose on the spot.
Yeah,
a5 is coming.
As an example, if you play a5 here, I go ba, I go queen c5. And I think it might already be kind of game over because I'm threatening bishop d5, and like queen b6, bishop d5 is actually mate because I will give a mate from a fate. And if you play bishop b6, I'll play queen b5. I'll play a5 i6, and you're still sort of getting mated on the king side to go with all of that. So,
yeah. I think Dennis played the best. He opted for g6, creating some loft for his king, some dark squares there, and then bishop d8, queen e7.
I like this, yeah. This will still require some work, actually. If he can maybe
now with
somehow...
the king on g7, it's a different story.
Yeah, so as white here, you're kind of desperately looking for a way to win immediately because you probably recognize that if the game doesn't end very, very quickly, black might actually establish some kind of a holding pattern.
But yeah, still, I mean, after... but queen c6 you can take on b4 probably. Okay, so we have to watch out for our b pawn.
Yeah.
But if we watch out for the b pawn, then you get this queen d6, bishop e7 regrouping. Maybe. But the a7 pawn will be vulnerable. Okay, no, it's of course very tough.
Yeah, queen c4 played as expected. No reason to give black any tactical additional chances. Yeah, queen d6 very usual, very normal. e4. And the problem here for Dennis is you would maybe like to try doing something like this, but it immediately loses to b6 and then a6. So you probably have to wait, and you maybe have to play like queen c7, queen a6. And he has to constantly watch out for this idea of creating a passer on the a file, not the b file, but the a file. So they got here very far. Honestly, this looks like it's maybe the best position yes. Black has in a while. Can he take on a5? Because there is no mate. f8 is covered, but f6 falls. Yeah, if we take on a5, check, and queen f6, and we play, I don't know, queen d2. Apparently I blundered mate, but I don't see how, but apparently the engine now thinks I blundered mate.
Wow.
Hasn't happened anyway. He played bishop d4, king g2, bishop c5. So how do we improve on the king side with white? Because Dennis, by now, I think he announced that he will not be touching anything. He will be just trying to pass on these two squares.
Okay, h4 played, yeah, he's advancing. H4, queen d8, queen f7, king h6.
Yeah, and now b6, a6 is winning. Yeah, this is what he will do. Yeah. Okay, so both games won are won by the players playing the white pieces. MVL defeats Kramnik, and Nordebek defeats Denis Lazovic. And games 2 are about to start. And judging by the fact that this game 2 already started, and the Kramnik MVL game, at least on my screen, hasn't yet, I'm guessing they're still maybe trying to fix what's happening with Vladimir's situation, because obviously it's not great for him to play the entire match on the phone.
Yeah, he needs to bounce back, and
yeah.
Okay, good for him that it's a 4 games match. Yeah, so this one loss doesn't mean that he is in a must-win situation immediately. I mean, there are 3 more games to be played, but still very tough.
In the meantime, in the losers bracket, there were draws between Aparin and Giri and Prague and Dubov in games 1. Vincent beat JF and Arjun Erigaisi beat Yuan Yi. So Arjun and Vincent need a draw with the black pieces to advance into the next round of the lower bracket. I don't know what to call it. It's not really a quarterfinal or a semifinal or anything like that. It's just advancing further in the lower bracket.
Yeah, then let's just maybe switch to Yuan Ji to see how he's trying to bounce back against Arjun.
Yeah, this is a very... Whoa, Arjun needs a draw in this game, by the way, and this is the opening he chose to make a draw. Yeah, okay. Why not, I guess. And they're playing a somewhat rare line here, because I think people generally castle here much more than they do anything else, but the move G4 is not a novelty, of course. It's a move that existed for the longest time. And then Yuan Yi takes on E6, allows D5, and then suddenly castles queenside anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Are you familiar with this?
No. I only remember that now Levon played the move G5 against Abdusatılov, and Nodirbek was not prepared against it. He played some H5 and lost a horrible game in Düsseldorf in the WER Masters event. And it's clearly shows that Arjun has done his homework and he's prepared.
Yeah, I don't think you play the dragon if you don't feel quite confident about your work. I like Queen H2 here, not because it creates this kind of a caveman threat of Queen H7, but because we also, I think, want to play Bishop C1 to make sure we never blunder any kind of tactics connected with Bishop takes B2. And I think King F7 would have been a very natural move here, but I suspect it runs into F5. I would still need to figure out what's happening here, though. Honestly, I'm a bit tempted by this, because I think as black, we are definitely looking for a way to trade some stuff off the board, right?
Yeah, very principled, because also this Queen H7 check hanging in the air is kind of very annoying.
Yeah, it might actually be a threat here. Let's say you play some stupid move like A5. I think I might actually be able to do this, specifically because I have Bishop D4. And yes, I'm sort of blundering the pawn on C2, but because I've interrupted the connection between the bishop on G7 and the B2 pawn, black will have to play Rook G8, and then I assume I'm winning after F5.
And besides, when you highlighted Bishop D4, I thought that you even want to show that instantly Bishop D4 is also a very big threat.
Oh, yeah. I just didn't see it. Yeah, sorry. That's just much stronger.
But you draw the arrow. Yeah, I didn't see it before as well. Yeah, but you were hinting it.
Yeah. That's actually much stronger. Probably wins on the spot, because you can't take because this is mate. And the advantage of this move is that we're not even giving up on C2. We're preserving all of the pluses of our position without any of the minuses.
Yeah, so it shows that why your instinct said King F7 is the...
And King F7 is on the board, by the way. And alternatively, if you don't play F5 here and give black a tempo to play Rook H8, black will immediately start feeling a lot better about life.
Yeah, so let's calculate this line that you showed. F5, Rook H8, F takes E6 check. You take. And then we go, for example, Queen D2.
I mean, it's not great, but I did manage to get one pair of rooks off. And now I want to run somewhere. I don't know. Some move. I'm worried A7 is actually hanging. Like I want to play like King D7 or something, but I'm like legitimately worried I will blunder this pawn somewhere. It's very stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough.
Some move, yeah. I don't know. Like this is the setup I want. I want to get this king to b7, play rook c7, and pretend that I'm sort of safe.
Yeah,
f5
we might be seeing this because f5 on the board.
Yeah, I don't think there's much choice. Like I don't think you can take on f5 twice and survive. Would be very, very strange to me if you could just do something like this and not get mated very quickly after, I don't know, queen h5 or yeah, probably we start with queen h5 and then after, let's say, king e6, we, queen g6, bishop f6, bishop d4, something like this. And
yeah, queen c2, king a1, and we only need to deliver one check, and that will be
just give me one move, and everything will collapse. Yeah.
Yes. No, black will have to hide in this line that you showed, rook h8, and then going forward with the king to e6.
Maybe you can make some argument for something like this, but once again, doesn't feel like this is fast enough. Feels like it's really inviting trouble.
Yeah, now the bishop is also locked. Yeah, so queen takes e2 check won't be a problem. Probably the same, this queen h5 check, and then just go for some attack will be very strong.
Yeah, even here, let's say queen g6 or bishop g5 check, and yeah, it looks like this should lose. Yeah, I don't believe in this. And then in the meantime, the second game of the other match did start, and they're very serious about their Sicilians today. And VL does play the Knight, which is good to see because he tried some other openings, but what the world I think needs more is him playing the Knight, not him playing the solid openings.
Exactly, yeah, that's
we have enough players. We have enough players playing solid openings. Let at least somebody be the standard bearer for the Knight. And Vlad goes for some really weird kind of a mixed Sozin, where White is playing like half Sozin, half English attack.
I think this is his pet line because I recall him doing it in the Legends against Magnus himself. I believe there was some crazy game where Kramnik sacrificed everything and Magnus went on simply saying, "Thank you very much, give me your pieces, sir." And Vladimir was not able to deliver checkmate and lost. I believe it featured exactly the very same variation. So what's going on? I mean, does White want to take on e6 with the bishop, or what do you think? When do you go for it or not?
Probably not yet. I can imagine some positions where it's possible, but probably not yet. And yeah, knight c6, he just castles long. It's a bit confusing to me because, like, the understanding I always had was in the Sozin, if you don't have some sort of immediate play against the pawn on e6, all of these types of positions with the bishop on b3 not really doing very much, I sort of assumed were a little bit too slow, but I guess all of these types of understandings, they have shifted and are outdated. Maxim goes 97. So I think having played f3, we're pretty much never going to be playing for a 4 or 5. So we will be, demonstrating some kind of an English attack type development on the king side.
But it feels a bit slow, yeah, just to, yeah. I mean, black is already ready. I'm also worried of some rook c8 and eventually knight a5, rook takes c3, exchange, sacrifice, the thematic stuff.
Yeah,
h4 on the
h4
board.
played. Yeah, it's interesting that he starts with this one, but I guess it doesn't really make much of a difference.
So if we go rook c8, what happens then?
So your plan probably is to do this, right? Maybe, or knight a5 even.
Yes, I don't know. Yeah, maybe knight a5 because it's a tempo. But knight a5, you might play bishop takes e6. I don't know exactly when you might be able to take. And then you take and go knight d5. I wasn't sure how to evaluate this.
Yeah, these types of positions, they're at least very sharp. I suspect they're okay for black.
Yeah.
But they're at the very least very sharp. And yeah, he goes king b1, which is Another move that I wanted to mention, because you feel like you eventually will have to make this move at some point, so why not do it now before committing to anything on the king's side?
Yeah, now black has to make up his mind. Knight a5 on the board.
Is rook c3 already a threat? Do we have to care?
Well, I hope so, but I don't know. I mean, I only feel like if I would be white, then rook takes c3 would definitely be very strong, yes? So, yes. But Vladimir so far has been playing straightforwardly, yes? So this is probably some kind of position he had in his mind. He should be kind of prepared, yeah? Because nothing extra. And queen e1, what? Protecting the knight. Okay, correct.
Well, yeah, protecting against rook c3 check, yeah. And this is also similar. How did those games go? But there were these games which Magnus played against MVL, among other people. I think that went, right? He was playing this very strange line, right? Where he would just do this.
Yes.
b5, a3. Basically saying, I want to play my English attack, and I will stop you from playing your e5 knight dwarfs, which you like so much. And then I will play my English attack, even though I am not technically, literally down a full tempo with h7, h6. And then I think he often would actually put the queen on e1. So this is somewhat similar, but I think in Magnus's games, the bishop was on f1. It was never really being developed to b3.
In any case, a very sharp battle. Yeah, queen. I mean, this kind of queen e1s are always nice. Now Maxim takes the bishop. Knight takes
this
b3.
Is surprising to me. I didn't really expect that, because this is, I think, an improvement.
Yeah, cb3 is very nice.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't come immediately. Yeah, but there it is. Yeah, you pretty much okay. This is the explanation.
Maxim blitzed out b5, b4 pawn sacrifice.
I guess he wants a b. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Yeah, but I don't think this works. I don't think this works.
Well, actually, it resembles the previous game. Yeah, when Kramnik got nervous and he started sacrificing something, and now something similar happens.
Yeah, I think there's some similarity here. But the problem is, I think I can just take.
Yes,
because here I don't see how you justify giving up this amount of material. And if you recapture on d5, I mean, even knight c2, bishop d4, queen g3.
Yeah.
Like, where's the attack?
I mean, those b pawns, triple b pawns are just fantastic.
Yeah.
Protecting every single square. The b2 pawn protects the knight on c3. The b3 pawn protects the c4 square, so the knight won't be able to jump there. Very nice.
Yeah, I really, really don't like it. I wonder, like, what could be the plan? Bishop takes d5, but bishop takes d5, then the pawn on b4 isn't even hanging because we're protecting it, and knight f5 becomes very strong, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and e5 played. Yeah, I have a feeling this was a little bit too imaginative from MVL.
Yeah, a bit impulsive. Wow, so Vladimir has all the chances of bouncing back. Do we have information? Is he still playing from his phone, or did his
he is still on the phone, yeah.
Okay.
Still on the phone. In the other game, Nordebek is, I mean, a bit worse. This is not very pleasant. The position is, the structure is somewhat symmetrical, but knight c5 is a massive threat, and black has kind of a soft pawn structure, lots of potential weaknesses, even knight a5 in some positions, because this pin is very annoying.
Well, again, the same deja vu feeling, yeah? I mean, this is exactly kind of the Catalan that Nordebek had with the white pieces against Dennis in the previous game.
And this was
yes.
This was a QGA, and supposedly a very quiet line of the QGA, but somehow this doesn't look so horrible, but move by move,
but
I guess.
Again, this pawn on e5 is a long-term issue, and Yeah, just like there, White got the dream of all dreams of the Catalan, and now this is the dream of what White could have dreamed of with this BC line.
Yeah.
In the
and now, yeah, rook
e8,
e8, I think was aimed specifically against knight a5 to at least have the rook on c8 protected. But now after knight c5, you have to find, maybe he goes rook e7 and hopes it doesn't lose somehow. I don't know. Let's go back to the Sicilian. e5. I was wondering if that was maybe the intention, but now one pawn gets returned. But White is still up one pawn. I don't think there will ever be any attack on the queen side now with the triple pawns.
Yeah, and the d5 square. Yeah, the knight comes.
Yeah, and also this. Yeah, it looks horrible.
Yeah,
it looks horrible, and yeah, Vlad is a massive favorite here.
I mean, it looks horrible. It is horrible, and
yeah,
you even don't know what to play. It looks so good for White.
Yeah, I became very attracted to this stupid idea of just leaving this bishop on g5, which, you know, the ancient doesn't even hate, but I don't think it's necessary. I think there must be some, you know, more straightforward ways of making improvement. But I thought this was kind of a funny way to demonstrate just how dominant the White position is.
I also had the same intuition, yeah, that this is okay. Queen g3 was not.
Yeah, Queen g3 also completely fine. Yeah, because it's quite unpleasant to even figure out how to deal with the threat of bishop h6. I guess maybe we go king h8. Yeah.
Yeah, very hard to see. Yeah, okay, king h8 probably has to be played on the board.
Yeah, it has been played. And yeah, I don't think White is winning by force, but White is just sort of a pawn up and also has sort of the better position. So we don't have to win by force. We can go h5. Ask Black if you want to also commit to playing h6, and then, you know, even something like this is not stupid.
Yeah, also just simply rook d2, rook hd1 could also be a way.
Yeah,
too many
h5,
options.
h5 played, h6 also played. Yeah, we'll see what Vladimir will decide. In the meantime, Arjun actually managed to keep things together in his game against Yuan Yi. I just wanted to show that somehow the king got back to f8, and Black even managed to trade a pair of rooks. They got here, the position we were discussing.
And Black opted for d4.
Yeah. And then the king ran. Yeah, and Doggo is very unhappy. Hello, Doggo.
Oh, way too excited with this king marching.
No. I think what happened was Olga had to go pick up some documents, so she left, and I wasn't there to tell him everything is okay and she will come back. And he doesn't like when people leave.
Yeah. This is.
He gets very upset.
It's all okay. Yeah, and Yuan Ji opted for the rook trade. Yeah, there was nothing else, but we have to remind everyone that White needs to win this game. There are only 2 games in the losers bracket.
Yeah, we'll switch back to this, and this is a very kind of a Kramnik decision. Just recognizes that despite having 3 b pawns, the endgames are like every single piece is just so much better than the Black counterpart that he just says, let's play this endgame. And MVL understandably says, no endgames for you, sir. But now we can include g4, g5, for instance. We can do all kinds of things.
But okay, at least now Black wants to activate his queen to e6.
Yeah, that would be a good square. And I'm trying to figure out if there is a good way to stop it. We can play Queen g4, f5, Queen g6, but it feels very artificial. It feels like wasting 2 tempi on this is unnecessary.
Yeah, somehow it doesn't feel like it's the best. But on the other hand, with Queen h4, Vladimir showed a little sign of weakness. Yeah, that he wants to trade queens. I mean, he does not want to crush the opponent. And maybe Maxim can build on this momentum to fight back.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, I think, for White, because you feel like you should be winning by force, and then you can't actually find a way to win immediately, and you have to switch to winning a technical game, and it feels less than great. Yeah, he's gone Queen G4 actually. I don't think it's a very good sign that I'm guessing his moves in this position, to be honest. I think Vladimir would much rather make moves I did not see. And some decisions happened in the lower bracket. I think Anish Giri is now winning, maybe already won his match against Grigory Aparin by beating him with the white pieces. So he progresses. And Alexei Dreyev actually has decent chances against Vincent Keimer. He got somewhere in the must-win game in the second round. And
I think Dubov Praga match ended in a draw, so we're gonna see an Armageddon there.
Oh yeah, they just agree. They found some kind of a weird-ish repetition, which means that there will be an Armageddon. Yeah. So this is the Lazavik Norebek game, where Black is sort of hanging on grimly. After b5, he will have to play ab5, and knight a7. This is actually all already on the board, because if the knight goes to any other square, not a7, then knight e6 and rook takes c8 will just win a full rook. But somehow things are still not getting completely refuted. b6, knight c6. White's problem is this knight on f3, right?
Yes.
Everything else is exactly where it should be, but this knight on f3 is not really participating in the
But hang on, what happened? The Kramnik game disappeared.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe
because there was all to play for, and then suddenly I'm afraid that some technical issue happened.
Either a technical issue, maybe, yeah, I don't know, because my screen still says only Queen G4, and then there is no more moves. But there's no way he would have offered a draw there. So I don't know how to interpret that.
Exactly, and also the Dreyev Vincent game disappeared.
Yeah, there. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can track that down. So the Kramnik game is now. It says MVL 1. Okay. Whoa, that's.
Oh my God! Mouse slip Queen G5. Don't tell me this is true.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is extremely regrettable, and you once again. You probably don't make a mouse slip like this on 8 minutes with a mouse, right? It's just tapping things on a small screen when you've never really tried playing chess like that in your life is not great. And yeah, this is...
I always feel whenever I see this that it would be so fair and so correct to have one correction. I mean that, okay, it's obvious that to get the move back and then have the right to play Queen G6, it hurts me so much. I mean, this is driving me crazy.
Yeah, he'll be very, very tilted by this. And on your question about Vincent's game, Vincent was like somewhere here. I think the engine was liking things for White quite a bit, but then Dreyev, I guess, lost control and allowed some kind of an attack, and suddenly got mated basically. So Vincent is through to the next round. Kramnik is 0-2 down, and will also
and go to Yuanji, because what happens? The a pawn is running through, or what? What is going on?
King c5. Yeah, King c5 probably queens the pawn, right?
Yes.
King c5, and then this is a queen.
Wow. Then Yuanji bouncing back.
Yeah, Yuanji will. He's on 30. Let's watch the end, because maybe there is a way to still ask a question or two, but probably not. Like Black needs to. I don't like King b3. I think what you should play is actually King b2 and try to blunder the bishop on g5, but get your pawn to c2. But the problem for Arjun there is that there's still a pawn on g6. So all those stalemate tricks, which would work if the c pawn was the last pawn, would never work. Here. So yeah, here he just resigns, because you can basically pre-move all of this. Because Black still has stuff on the king side, and these are all light squares. So you can basically be absolutely sure you can make all of these moves. So this is an Armageddon. There will be another Armageddon between Prague and Dubov.
It already started, by the way, and there is a very interesting moment. The Sotiris mentioned the bidding situation, and Daniel Dubov bidded 8 minutes. I just don't understand this. I believe that he's too much focused on what the guys are doing in Division 1 because they are very experienced. Hikaru, Magnus, they don't care about how much time they get. They believe that they are super fast. But Prague was bidding only something like what it was, 11 minutes something.
11:38, yeah, 11:38. Yes. But Dubov has been doing it for, like, he's also done this yesterday. It seems like this is just his understanding of what he should be doing. He feels like he's naturally quite quick. He doesn't really play particularly poorly if he has to play quickly. Doesn't really impact the quality of an average move that he makes too much. So why not just take the draw odds and play? I don't know.
Yeah, my argument is that, I mean, these players like Prague, they don't mind if the same applies to Artemiev. I was following Artemiev's bidding as well, that they are always taking something like 11.5. They want to be safe in case they get the black pieces. They don't want to play so quickly. So you can just bid 10 minutes and probably you anyway going to get, 9.59 just to make sure, and you will anyway get the black pieces.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Considering who you're playing against, I didn't think of it from that angle. Yeah, that's a very good point you bring up. Yes, he probably has some idea what time he's still happy getting when playing black. But if he can get more, you should get more. And considering the fact that all the Indian kids do appear to be betting something in this range between like 11.50 and 10.50. So you can maybe reasonably safely bet like 9.5 and get 9.5 instead of 8 and still get the black pieces. That is just a very, very solid point. I completely failed to consider.
Yeah, well, I was commenting all this Hikaru, Magnus, Hikaru versus Wesley So, and there everybody was, of course, trying to get the black pieces to be able to play the Berlins, anti-Berlins. Okay, you're going to be beat black. Important to be black, otherwise I'm going to play Queen's Gambit, be very solid. But these young players like to play chess. Yeah, they don't have this super deep, solid repertoire which you require to be so confident that you can play with 8 minutes. Yeah. They just want to play chess, and then they also need some time to do that.
Yeah, and he's also kind of getting outplayed in the opening here by Prague. I really hate black's position here. As somebody who's had these types of anti-Grunfelds all my life, this is a very, very unpleasant anti-Grunfeld now, because you failed really to get the structures that you normally want. The queen on h4 is going to be very annoying, but you had to play h5. I mean, had to is a bit strong. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised he didn't just ignore the bishop h6 idea. You maybe worry slightly that he will just get mated with bishop h6, knight g5, but you do have knight e6 to come. So a bit shocking to me how happily he played h5 here. And this is just a very, very annoying position. Where you're also already 5 minutes down on the clock. And this I hate. Now I think you do get mated after d takes e4, maybe bishop g7 and d takes e4.
It looks very scary. But I also don't understand that on move 3, after the move, because it was a rated knight f6 d5, let's just go. I mean, it's common knowledge that d takes e4 and Dubov is the big theoretician. I mean, you cannot play c6 here. Why?
Yeah, and by the way, Lazovic is equalizing against Abdusattorov. Probably already the game is finished, because you don't really continue very far from here. Just looks completely lost. So this will be 1-1. Yeah, game is still continuing, but there's really not very much hope. You will be 2 pawns down. You can't play. If you play c5, you lose even faster. I think you have to play like king f6, king e6, but c5, knight d7. I think you're just completely hopeless. Knight d7, knight b7, king d3, king c4, knight takes c5. I think you just resignable, or the immediate king d3. Honestly.
Yeah, white has also 3 minutes 10 seconds.
Yeah. So it looked for a second like maybe Noribek was stabilizing, but it doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah, wow. So okay, bouncing back, and Vladimir should have done the same. Unfortunately, due to this terrible mouse slip, the match is becoming now premature.
Yeah, and this is just a horrible position for Daniel. Like even queen takes d8 and d5 is a massive advantage, but I think I would be very, very tempted to try to give mate with like queen f4 here, queen f4 and bishop c3, b takes c3, queen f6. I mean, now maybe we go e5, but yeah, I think now
get
we
the
go
knight
e5.
to e4. Yes.
Yeah, it's just a very, very difficult position for black. He goes knight g5, which is a very similar idea.
And Peter, look at what Sotiris is informing us about Arjun versus Yuan-Ji match.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah, that's people trying to maximize their potential edges for the bidding. Arjun bet 11:38 and Yuan-Yi bet 11 minutes flat. So Yuan-Yi wins the bidding, and Yuan-Yi will play black with 11 minutes. This will start quite soon. Prague, knight g5, e5. Yeah, you really feel like maybe f4. Just go in, f4, g4, go for mate. Bishop f3 takes h5 seems premature. I don't know.
Okay, I believe that the good news for Daniel is that he knows that his position is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So at least the move e6, e5 gives him some long-term pluses. Yeah, so if he doesn't get mated, he might actually survive and have a decent position.
Yeah.
But he might not survive. That's the problem.
Yeah, g4. So what's the plan after bishop f6? I guess we go f4 now, right?
Yes.
f4, and if ef4 we take, and we take on h5, and we are breaking through. Yeah,
finally black lands a knight on e5, but at a cost.
Probably a bit too late, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice for Prague to actually pause here, because it's an important moment. If you give black a little bit of time to play queen e7, bishop f6, maybe knight c5, the position will not look all that horrible anymore. So he spent some time calculating, realized bishop f6 looks scary but doesn't actually win anything, and is therefore going in. And yeah, the other Armageddon also started, and they're playing a very quiet. Yeah, Arjun is actually playing. He switched away from his knight c3 London and is playing an exchange Slav for a win.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is all very unusual.
But this is the Jan Gustafsson spirit.
Mm.
I remember that Jan had a tiebreak against Aleshchenko in one of these European championships he needed to win to qualify for the World Cup. And he was very proud. He also commented this game for the Shah newspaper that he went for c takes d5 and delivered checkmate in 25 moves.
Yeah. No, I mean, if people against... I actually... Whoa. Okay. MVL is actually returning the point.
This is applause. This is applause. I have to.
MVL is returning a point, and they will play a game, a one-game match where Vlad needs to win. I like this. Yeah, MVL.
This is the reaction. This is the real true champion's character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very nice.
But also very stylish one. Right? I mean,
no, honestly, I wanted him to play queen e1 here, and let's say c5, queen f2.
Ah, wow. You want too much, yeah?
I wanted that, but when I saw the king on g3, I thought he will play queen e1, queen f2.
Yes.
But king h4 is also okay. It's fine. Yeah, and this entire line happened on the board in the game between Prague and Dubov, and yeah, it looks like you just can't. Like one very picturesque line here is like this, which I think is
wow, beautiful.
The way to.
Let's just show till the end. Bishop e6.
Bishop e6, we go queen f6 and then rook h4, yeah, and rook takes h8. Unfortunately, there is f takes e6, after which I will have to win in a kind of a boring way by taking and playing rook d8 and winning some material, but sometimes you have to do those things. Yeah, he goes queen h8 immediately, which is a better option, I suppose, but I have a feeling h6 is still winning. h6, knight f6, rook takes f4, and yeah, it's knight difficult for me to imagine. Yeah, knight h5, but then h7, rook f7.
Yeah, it looks.
There has to be a way to give mate here, right?
I mean, White did not sacrifice anything. That's another problem.
Yeah, and also, by the way, yeah, knight f6 we can take with the queen, yeah, which probably ends the game on the spot, like knight h5, queen f7.
Wow.
Rook f7, rook d8, yeah. Yeah, h6, queen takes b2 on the board. Yeah, this has to be lost. Rook f4, queen f4, yeah, like I don't believe this is survivable for Dubov.
Yeah, but I'm still under the influence of what Maxim has just done, and I'm so happy. You remember I was mentioning that, okay, I'm just going crazy whenever I see this mouse lips, and this is just sensational reaction. Fantastic.
Yeah, I like this from MVL. But as we mentioned, I mean, they've known each other forever. They work together. They have a lot of respect for each other. So,
I mean, but this is what chess is about. You know, for me, this is the mutual respect. It's not only about the result. You want to win because you are the stronger player, because you prove it over the board. Yeah, and they are just showing this tremendous sportsmanship. This is what chess is about.
Yeah, and once again, I think knight e6 is winning here, maybe even immediately, but we can include h7, king h6, king h8, knight e6. Oh, apparently I blundered something. Knight f3 check. Knight f3 check. Yeah, I blundered something. I guess we go like rook f7 or knight f7, something maybe. There has to be something. There has to be something here. I don't know. Rook f7? The bishop doesn't have squares, right? You would like if you could put the bishop somewhere and connect the rooks, maybe you would be slightly in the game, but there are no good squares. We'll see what Prague decides. He still has 6 minutes against 3.5.
I think it will be on the board.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't play knight e6 here. Knight e6 just, I think, lets black completely back into the game, yeah.
I mean, Prague still has 6.5 minutes. He's a razor sharp player. He will not miss his chance here.
Yeah. So the choice really is between knight f7 and rook f7. Knight f7, my problem with that move is that we take, and we allow bishop e6.
Yeah?
We allow bishop e6. And yeah, the engine still suggests we are completely winning somehow, but... yeah, of course we are.
But queen f6.
Yeah, we have queen f6 here. Why are we so happy about all of this? I'm very confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I got it.
Oh my god, yeah, but this is so easy to miss, yeah.
I think I got it, and then e5 wins the game. But he played rook f7, and this is what we were talking about. Yeah, d7 is the only square you can even choose, and now he just goes rook d7, knight d7, rook d7, and the checks will run out. You can give a check from here, and then here I will play queen g3, and yes, I will have to stop giving mate for a second, but white is also massively up on the materials, so material side. Yeah, queen takes a2 is a choice by Dubov, which is a kind of a funny move. Queen g3, I guess, yeah. Just make sure they're
queen takes a2 is played because already black has nothing to lose. He knows that every other move is kind of resignation, and he has to pick up that pawn and hope for a miracle that he does not get mated, and the a pawn gives him some counterplay. But it will.
I like queen g3 and then e5, and then he played queen g3, queen a1, king h2, and yeah, black could try running the a pawn down the board, but you will get mated on the king side faster than that.
Yeah, there is no way you are not getting checkmated here.
Yeah, like it's it's going to happen quite quickly. Queen f6 chosen, yeah, but if you have to start going back, it's not going to work out for you. e5, I guess he wants queen f4, but this position is very, very lost. Very, very lost.
Yeah, the only chance black would have if white would only have few seconds on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can hope for something because you survive the checkmate and maybe you hope for something, but like this is just hopeless.
Yeah, e5 on the board. So let's start watching something else. I will just mention that the other Armageddon, black actually managed not to get mated. I was a bit worried somewhere here because I thought, we could at some point start delivering some kind of a blistering attack on the H file, but Yuan very quickly opened up something in the center himself to have more activity, and this is the current position, which doesn't look bad for black. Looks perfectly playable.
Yeah, it's a bit strange structure for both sides. I'm looking at the clocks, okay, because it's we have to know that, yeah, this is the Armageddon, so there are no extra seconds increments available. But the position also opens up in the center. A lot of trades are happening, and still black has 6.5 minutes. Clock shouldn't be the main issue here.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be. And game 4 of Kramnik versus MVL has begun, as did game 3 of Satorov Lazavik. Vladi is playing.
But hang on, another mouse slip, c3.
No, I think. No. I think this is MVL not only resigned the previous game, he also gave away a white.
Ah, yes.
So I think Vladi is saying, okay, I'll play this game with black.
Okay, applause for Vladimir.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is not a mouse slip. I'm pretty sure this is actually
correct.
They both understand how these mechanics work, and Vladi says, thank you for the returned point, but I'm supposed to be black in this game, so I will be black in this game.
Yeah, just fantastic. I mean, it's so nice. And it's a bishop b5 Sicilian then.
Yeah, it's pretty much a bishop b5 Sicilian where this is interesting, by the way, because normally in all kinds of bishop b5 Sicilians these days, the bishop actually returns to d3. But that's normally when the rook is still on f1. If you have the option of playing bishop f8, you normally put it on f8, right? But he chooses to do it this way.
But also here after b4, wasn't it supposed to be met by c5 from black?
I mean, a5 also looks very playable. It's definitely a move you can make, yeah. And then maybe, I mean, you want to play knight c6, and if b5, you probably want to play bishop c7 and d5, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, because I remember that in my so-called repertoire from the black side, it was mentioned that, you know, that you should not hurry with b5, but you should play first e6. Yeah, let's just show from this original situation. Knight f6, rook e1, a6, bishop d3, and now you play e6, and after c3, you play b5.
Yeah, because here, like, this is this line, right? This is I remember at some point I had a lot of fun studying this because this became very topical after some very strong players started playing g5 in this position. So this is actually this exact position, right?
Exactly.
c5, and you can play g4 here if you want. Yeah. Okay. But he played a5 instead. Rook b1 takes, knight a6, b5, knight c5. He played, I believe, e4, c6, bishop e2. This looks completely fine for black. Now I can play either bishop c7 or bishop f8 and play d7, d5 next move. And it looks very, very healthy for black.
Yeah, it does. And it's a must-win game for Kramnik.
Yeah, I think this has to be completely fine. You could try playing bishop b2 to stop d5 by attacking the pawn on e5, but I think I can probably still play d5. I'd be very surprised if you could actually pawn grab here without consequences.
Yeah, I mean, you are breaking the center. The knight on c5 is a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah,
not
I think
easy for
MVL
white.
is doing quite well. Yeah, the other semi is level after 2 games with both players winning with the white pieces, and Nordebek is he's repeating this. Yeah, so he's serious about this Queen D3 idea for at least for this one day.
Yeah, because
C5
that's the trick of
castles.
this format. Yeah, that you don't have 10 minutes break or 15 minutes break between the games to check and understand how you have to play. You have to rely on your feeling or what you learned from the previous game, but those things are always very tricky.
Yeah, and Dennis deviates here by playing b6 instead of knight c6, cd5, bishop a6, queen c2. So we get a kind of a Queen's Indian-ish type position where my immediate reaction is white probably is quite happy because there's a lot of pressure against the d5 pawn. And you don't have... Yeah, if you have to play c5, c4, you're probably quite unhappy because knight e5 and... Like your entire center is under so much pressure.
Yeah, now suddenly a natural kind of queen c9 turns into a Tarrasch, and white got all his pieces perfectly placed, yeah, and black doesn't get his usual setup here.
Yeah, I don't even know how you preserve material equality here, to be honest, because how are we supposed not to lose the d5 pawn? Knight d7 maybe or something, but no, I don't know. I'm really struggling to hold things together. Maybe a6, but no, I don't believe that myself.
Yeah, I agree. Even suggesting a move is kind of difficult.
I think if I have to make a move, I'm playing a6, and then maybe I'm closing my eyes and playing gf, but not very happily. Because bishop f6, bishop takes d5. Maybe we do this, yeah. This actually works, the engine says. This actually works. And
if I take with the knight on d5?
Yeah, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. Unsurprisingly. Yeah. And also, I think it says quite a lot about the quality of the current position that knight e5 hasn't been played yet because it looks so strong. And Nordebek is still considering other options because he probably also feels that the correct move here might be borderline winning.
But hang on, there is some incredible action, Arjun against Yuanji. I think we have to jump right in there. What is going on?
Yeah, Yuanji is in full control because he can play knight c3 here, right? Oh, no, it's white to move. Sorry, it's white to move. Yeah, okay, I'm losing my mind here a little bit. So what happens if we go rook e1?
Well, d2.
Yeah, and then I want to go back.
Wow, smart.
And I thought this was the idea, but I have rook d8 check in the end, so the fork doesn't actually win any material. And I can see that the engine says this is losing for white, but I'm kind of struggling to figure out exactly why. Maybe d2, rook d1, knight g4, and then queen e1. Something like this.
Yeah, that looks good.
That looks pretty strong, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right, so Arjun is fighting for his life. He has 3 extra minutes, but the position is very tight. Yeah, he eliminates the pawn. He needs to eliminate this pawn. Knight c3 play.
Knight c3, and you don't have squares. You would like to play rook e1, but then queen d5 check.
And if rook d2, how do I lose?
Maybe you don't. But after queen d5 check, you once again don't have good moves. Queen g2, knight f3, I guess, and you're completely...
Bishop takes g6. I mean, okay,
maybe you're making some kind of a draw, but it's a must-win game for Arjun, so that will not work. Queen g2 on the board. Yeah, and also I wanted to just mention that even knight f3 is not forced. White is completely stalemated.
Yeah, no, it's looking very bad. And still 3 minutes for black, so no chances of just flagging.
Yeah, I can't really figure out how you even continue fighting here with white, because the only move to really make is queen g3, but that's a draw offer, at least.
Yeah.
Black might have something stronger than queen d5 check, but considering black only needs a draw, black will very, very happily just play queen d5 check. Let's pause with this for a second. Yeah, queen g3 played. Yeah, Yuan Yi will play queen d5 check instantly, I assume, considering the match situation. And yeah, I don't know what you do here with white. You don't really have options. Let's take a look at the upper bracket games. Now, Vladimir is, if I had to guess, I would say maybe black is a bit better. But I'm not so sure. This construction is not really going very far.
But still, the knight on c5 looks so nice. And
the knight on c5 is fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the best piece ever.
Yeah, with
it would be even better on d4, but e5 is a bit.
Yes.
e5 is a bit.
And also, let's just highlight
tender.
this bishop on f8, because it looks like a sleeping bishop, but it gives so much stability for black. This f8 bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Is just a monster, yeah. And Vladimir needs to win this game. I mean, he's close to equalizing, but I mean, getting a chance to fight for a win here, it's.
Yeah, it's a tricky position, though, because it's difficult to figure out where the pieces go. Apart from this plan of trying to get the knight to d4, why e6, it's very difficult for me to understand what I'm supposed to be aiming for. And I don't know how to make that work, the b5 pawn being what it is.
Exactly, because otherwise you could give the argument that g6, knight g7, knight g6 would be lovely, but e5 pawn is anyway hanging all the time.
Maybe we still do that, right? We go g6, we go, I don't know, maybe bishop d6, knight g7, knight g6, something like this. Because white also isn't really going very far. Naming the next move for Vladimir is also not easy at all here. And in the meantime, knight e5, a6 on the board in the other semifinals, so understandable stuff.
Yeah, it looked like obligatory. It's not a happy good choice, but it's the only move.
Mm-hmm. And Arjun in the end played f3 here. I don't understand. Like, I think we can just take, right? And this knight doesn't even fall because we still have queen takes h4 ideas. Feels like black is just completely winning in a mass draw game.
Yeah,
but also queen takes h4 is completely fine. Yeah, that's maybe even simpler.
Which would mean that it's the end of the road for Arjun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now queen takes d2 next move against anything. You can actually pre-move queen takes d2 here against all three moves.
But I mean, still better not to, no? I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So Yuan Yi wins his match against Arjun Erigaisi, which means that Arjun is actually eliminated from the tournament after being basically one good move away yesterday from being in the semis.
Yes.
He was with the score at 1.5, half, 1.5, half. He was completely winning against Norebek yesterday, and managed to somehow lose that game. Bishop f6 played. Yeah, here you have to make sure not to panic and not to play g takes f6, which is what was my suggestion for a second, but it's a pretty bad move. You should take with the bishop, and I guess after knight takes d5, we close our eyes and we play something like this, right? And we hope we're still in the game somehow.
Yeah, it's the best you can do, and with white also, we would have maybe hoped for something more than this.
Yeah. I mean, this is better for white, but you would like to be more winning than this. And there's maybe something stronger here. Queen b4 might be a good move.
Yeah, queen b4.
Bishop d5, rook d5, queen c7, just rook a d1, just play for positional advantages. I don't know. Feels like there should be something, but so far I have not found anything that I can call with. Whoa.
Wow, yeah, forget about it. Yeah. Let's go there.
Whoa.
Knight f4.
Все хорошо. Все хорошо.
Yeah, then let's go back to bishop
so
c3
MVL, after bishop c3, he thought for like 3 minutes and thought, yeah, white has so few moves that I can make this positional piece sacrifice, because black still has no direct threats. I'm guessing black's next two moves are something like this, yeah?
Yeah. And nothing really moves for white.
Mm. Yes, just how do you fight against this?
King h1, has to be played.
And apparently it's a massive mistake because of something. Maybe knight d3, but...
Yeah, probably. But I mean, humanly speaking, king h1 is the move.
Yeah, I think you play king h1 every single day because you feel like you need the rook on g3 to fight against the black rook lifts. So why is this such a massive mistake? Is it maybe just this? No, he goes knight d3.
Yeah, knight d3.
And then after rook f1, maybe now we go back to lifting the rook, yeah?
And white is kind of paralyzed.
Yeah. Joyce wants to be on camera.
Yeah, the problem is that Vladimir needs to win this game, but how does he get out of this trouble first? I wanted to suggest knight g1, but it runs into rook h6.
Yeah, in this position, you're still kind of struggling to make moves, yeah? This looks like it's not really an improvement, even though, the engine for some reason is
knight df3, knight df3 maybe. I mean, I'm hanging on.
Yeah, let's wait for Vladimir's decision here. It does feel like you have to play rook f1. I can't believe we can give up the pawn on f2 with check and survive.
Yeah, it's on the board and bishop c5 blitzed out by
okay, that's an important resource that we were kind of ignoring.
Yeah, this is a very strong move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is impressive by MVL, just recognizing how much, how active all of his pieces are and how passive all of White's pieces are, and exploiting that.
And Sotidis has just informed us that the losers bracket is about to begin anytime soon with some incredible matchups.
Mm-hmm.
It is Anish Giri versus Pragnanda and Yuyanji versus Vincent Keimer. So a lot of actions ahead.
Yeah, and I think that will be the conclusion of the day. So once the upper semifinals are done, we're not playing the winners' finals today. We're playing them tomorrow. So we will have the losers bracket to follow this with, and those look like a very, very exciting pairings. Yeah, and of course there is still the second semifinal where knight takes d5 has been played, and interestingly, Lazovic played b5, not bishop b5, and now knight c6 on the board. I'm assuming we have to play this, but then we are more material down. This looks bad.
Yeah, this looks very bad.
This looks very bad. This looks... I think what we were suggesting was maybe the better practical chance, just taking on e5 twice and, asking White to at least show something.
Yeah, I mean, this b5, knight c6, it also... I mean, what strikes me and what is very interesting, that Lazovic himself is a Catalan player with the white pieces. We have seen it yesterday as well against Vincent. And then Nodirbek goes for the Catalan with the white pieces. He goes for some sideline with queen d3 and both times gets an overwhelming position right out of the opening. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's been a strange match in that respect, that queen d3, it's a playable move, but he basically got two massive advantages with this. Oh, hang on, no, wait.
No, he did get, also in the first.
Yeah, but one second. Yeah, of course. I'm really losing my mind here. For a second there, I just hallucinated that both of them played queen d3 against each other. But no. The game that Lazovic won was the QGA.
Yes.
Not this, yeah. So Nodirbek plays this against Lazovic twice in the match, and in both games he is like borderline winning by move 20, which, as you said, really should not be happening.
Yeah. And this queen d3 was the move that Ali Reza played against Fabian in the candidates last year, and there it did not work. Fabi actually went on to win with the black pieces. A very important game. But okay, all eyes on Vladimir Kramnik against Maxim Vasilaglav, because I think that's the...
Yeah, but there's really not very much to say about this. It's just a lost position. You want to play knight g3, but at the very least, there is this.
Yeah.
Ah, there's knight h5 in the end. Aha.
Okay.
Aha. Okay, so after knight g3, we should be doing something cleaner. Bishop b3, maybe.
And then rook f1, rook d2, but then rook f2. So rook f1.
Yeah, I blundered something again, yeah, because I blundered specifically this move, yeah. Knight g3 on the board. I will say, sorry, I will say that the position with knight h5 in the end, we are probably okay here with black, to be honest. I don't think we're going to lose.
No, but knight d7 check.
Knight d7 check, yeah.
Knight d7 check.
But there has to be a solution which is better than all of this somehow.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just go back with the queen. I don't know. After all, it looks like black is in total control. But white is fighting with these two knights. If the two knights start jumping, it's a different game.
Yeah, it's annoying me greatly that I can't figure out how to, cleanly convert this. This has to be. Yeah, I was wondering about this. Just play queen e3, queen g3. Yeah. Just play positionally. Don't try to win by force. Just win slowly.
Yeah, and also once you trade the queens, I can never go for counterattack, and my pieces are very loose. Yeah, bishop c3, knight d2 construction collapses. On the board, yeah, queen e3.
Yeah, and then you can slowly, you can play g6 to limit the knight on g3, and all the endgames are better / winning for black here. So yeah, you're in full control.
Yes. Yeah, Vladimir would love to play the move knight b3 here, but then already queen f3 check appears. But anyway, knight b3, there is no other move. Yeah, knight b3 had to be played, good or bad. It had to be played. Ah, but you have rook d1 check or queen f3, rook d1. Isn't it finishing the game on the spot?
Pretty much, because this one falls, yeah.
Yeah, that's it then.
Yeah, that should be it. And in the other semifinal, black for some reason has a passer on c3 now, but white is still 2 healthy pawns up, so it shouldn't really give black any legitimate counterplay.
No, it's only 1 pawn up. Actually, black somehow survived.
He took with the rook. Yeah, it's only 1. Yeah, he took with the rook. Queen c2, bishop a8, a4, rook c8, takes, g5, b4. Yeah, I can't count.
Yeah, it's but still I'm surprised. I mean, why do you let this happen with white? Yeah, it's a little bit at least murky, no?
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I think I probably would never have played a4 here.
Yeah, just or if a4, then at least take on b5 first, just to open up the a file or something. No, it's
just go e4 here, take on f6, go g5. Why is that not good enough? He's still much better though.
Ah, wow, MVL did not play queen f3, rook d1, but is his move also strong enough?
This looks fine. Yeah, it's still kind of surprising that he doesn't find a very straightforward, very forcing way to basically end the game. Unusual, I think, for MVL not to see it. But
yeah, and look at Vladimir goes all in with queen g2.
Is there a way to? The point of course is this, yeah.
Yes.
Attacking this, and the queen can't actually connect to g7 very easily.
Yeah, you have to play queen f3, but then I take on c5, and it's I jump at least.
Yeah, there are some jumps, yeah. What else do we have? We can just play g6 maybe.
You can.
But then that knight c5, knight f5, it's still not very clean, yeah?
Yeah, no. I mean, especially now it's so difficult because compared to queen f3 check, rook d1 forcing resignation, everything is definitely much worse.
Yeah, and he's gone for that other endgame. I think we probably prefer the rook on f3 and not on c3 so that c4 is not hanging, right? Yeah, that's what he does. With black, I assume we play g6 just to make sure we don't blunder some back rank.
And okay, of course, black is still better and he only needs a draw, so it's still looking very good for black.
King g2, the rook probably goes to a3, and the other one goes to a8. And then we start creating threats with our own rooks. I don't think it has any... Or to c, yeah, that's actually better. 96 rook a8, yeah, this way. Or rook d8, which is what MVL chose, yeah. Why not ask the question first, make white make some kind of a stupid move like knight cb7 first, and then put the rook on a8.
Yeah, Vladimir knows, yeah. That it's very hard to imagine miracles, but yeah, he goes knight cb7, rook e8, rook b2, covering the second rank. It had to be played. And what is this? I mean, how to proceed now with black? Do you just play king f8, king e7, bring the king closer, or do you go rook c3 to a3, doubling?
Yeah, he played rook a3, yeah. And this is something that I keep on talking about. It like feels like there is at least one occasion per stream for me to talk about how important it is to take the rook off the board. When you're playing this two rooks against rook and two light pieces positions, trading rooks is just so much in the favor of the person with the rook against the pieces, because then play just becomes so much simpler.
And just a second, the Abdusatov game finished. How did it finish so quickly?
He won, yeah. He won.
He won. Ah, okay. Then no surprises there. Yeah, rook f2, rook a2, and yeah, white needs to win. And after the rooks are traded off, there is just no scenario that white can ever win.
Yeah, king f8, king e7. You can even start generating some passers of your own on the king side, and yeah, white just doesn't have very much in the way of active plans. Yeah, king takes f2. I assume he goes king f8 here just to stop knight d7. Yeah. And the new matches have begun in the lower bracket. Vincent is playing against Yuan Yi, and Anish is white against Prague. We will get to that in a moment, but I want to finish watching this before we concentrate all of our attention on the other matches.
Yeah, Vladimir is trying to secure his knight with c4, c5, but black in return will get his king to e6 and will be threatening to push.
Yeah,
and then he doesn't want to push anything.
Yeah, also very so. I guess he's preparing to play king d7 to make sure c6 is adequately covered, and then the rook will start becoming active. And you know, I don't know how easy this is to win for black, but he doesn't need to. Yes. It's a very good situation for him because draw is enough. So.
Yeah, knight b4 was played, and I'm surprised. Maxim took his time, that he is even going for fancy move rook a4.
Yeah, because knight c6, king d7 actually captures that knight. That's a pretty cute find. Rook a4, knight d3, and now the king goes to e6 because knight b4 is no longer available, and we will play f5 next move. Yeah, I think we can switch to game 4 of Lazavik Abdusatorov because yeah, MVL is not losing this. With 2.5 minutes against a minute, he's just never ever losing this unless he returns the mouse sleep somehow. Lazavik is playing 1d4 again, and in reply, Noribek played a Bogo. And yeah, we've seen Magnus equalize this time and time again. With black, this is a line that Magnus, I think, chooses quite often when he just wants to have a quiet game. Doesn't Magnus just go d takes c4 here very often? I was trying to remember. There were some Aronian Carlsen games, I think, which...
Yes, but I think that here white played rook c1. That was maybe a3. Could it be?
Maybe. I'm really...
I mean,
not
from the
very good with
candidates 2013, no?
Yeah,
Yes.
and then some games later as well. But that was the one I was trying to remember.
Yes.
But anyway, he played rook d8, and now, of course, black is very much intending to take and play c5. So cd5, ed5 did happen, and I think Dennis is quite happy that he gets a kind of a more complicated pawn structure here. But this is a very solid position for black, of course. You go, I assume, knight bd7, rook ac8, and then you choose one of the many possible setups.
Yeah, b3 is kind of a very nice little move from the white side. Yeah, it stops c5, c4. It enables white to keep the tension in the center. You don't want to decide anything yet. And the queen goes to b2. It's also very instructive how Dennis is playing. I mean, he's only 17 years old, but it feels like he's playing in the spirit of Predrag Nikolic. I mean, this all in the 80s, 90s chess. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. He might not end up winning today because he is currently trailing by a point, and Noribek might very easily survive this and win. But I remain incredibly impressed by what he is showing both today and in this tournament in general. I'm not going to switch, but MVL is so far doing everything that's required of him in his game to be completely safe.
And what about the Anish Prague game? That was some semi-Tarrasch
that was a
duel.
Yeah, heavily theoretical semi-Tarrasch where we got it via this move order, which means that white couldn't play any of the h4 stuff that people do these days when they have the option. But h4 happened anyway, just slightly later. I always kind of struggle because honestly, it's incredibly educational for me to listen to you talk about these things. I have no idea, but I could ask you. But we have 3 games running, which are rapid games, so we don't have very much time. So I feel like trying to figure out why exactly people are now playing h4 in this position and not rook c1 and not bishop d3 and not rook d1 is maybe not the best use of our time. How do you feel about
basically,
this?
if it would be classical chess, then we would have the time to go into all the details. Here we just have to go with the flow, trust that Anish wants to surprise Prague. h4 is kind of an interesting move. The big question, what happened later? So h4, b6, h5, h6, and rook h3. Okay.
Bishop b7, rook g3. So it feels like white is very much declaring an interest in giving mate as early as possible. But then it seems like black has enough resources here to stop that from happening, and play becomes slower. And Anish, in fact, basically allowed queen c3 and allowed the queen change right here. And Prague, interestingly, chose to take on f3 first. I'm guessing this means that queen d2, knight d2 was maybe worrying him a little bit.
Probably.
And takes, and b6, b5. Prague is doing something that I really did not expect here. This seems to indicate that he very much disliked his position.
Yes.
Because to go into this endgame voluntarily, I think you really need to start from a position of I am worse, so I'm looking for ways to change the character of the game, because you know that you are worse in this endgame.
For sure, yes. Well, one thing also he could be kind of impressed and influenced by is that Anish has blitzed out almost everything. And at that point, when we joined in and the queens were just traded off, Anish was still on 40 minutes, 30 seconds or something like this, indicating that he's still in book. And maybe that was the reason why Prague felt like, okay, I'm going to give a pawn, but I damaged the pawn structure. I have very good drawing chances. I might going to hold this endgame.
Yeah. What do we do about the king on h8, though? We want to play g6 or g5 or something, yeah?
Yeah, I actually wanted to highlight that if the white pawn would be on h4, and black's pawn would be on h5 and g6, we would, I think, believe that black has absolutely enough compensation. The reason why we are so unsure about how much is it holdable for black, that this pawn on h5 is a monster.
Absolutely. And you, as is with any other endgame, you can't really play this endgame for too long or too successfully, sort of king down. The white king will get to e4 eventually. Like, you'll play f3, f4, you'll get king g2, king f3, king e4. Black, in the meantime, needs to do something about including this in the game. And you pretty much never want to play f6, because then imagine this bishop getting to g6. You will actually never get out of the corner. Which is why I was talking about, the way of changing the structure for Pragg here probably involves him playing either g6 or g5.
Well, my feeling is that maybe black should just try to play something like rook d8, knight d5, quickly, eventually try to hint at knight f4, threatening that pawn on h5, and then maybe also combine it with king g8, king f8, just to come closer like this.
Yeah, rook c1 I like. I thought this was a very logical continuation. You want to play rook c7. It's probably not going to get allowed. But if knight d5, we can, for instance, play maybe rook c5 and then bishop c4 and try to reestablish the rook c7 idea.
But okay, here I'm going to go knight f4, and I want to, or start with rook d8. Maybe start with rook d8 first.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
so maybe we play faster. Yeah, maybe we do this. No, but I don't really want to give up on h5 so easily.
Yeah.
Knight d5 on the
board.
Let's see what Anish does here. In the meantime, the Kramnik game finally finished. I assume MVL at least drew. Yeah. Ended up being a draw in a position where only MVL could play for a win, but he doesn't need to play that for a win, so I guess, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I think that we can't highlight it enough that it included some incredible sportsmanship. We have seen some tragic mouse slip by Vladimir Kramnik. Then the reaction of MVR was just stunning, absolutely brilliant. And then Vladimir's reaction of that was also too gentlemanly. I think both gentlemen deserve some incredible applause for this sportsmanship.
Yeah, that was a nice match to watch if you like people really kind of observing the spirit of fair play and going out of their way to treat each other with respect. Anish played king h2, which is a cute little move, I guess, saying if you want to play knight f4, it's better for me to have this king closer to the center. I don't know if he wants to maybe even do this and then rook c7. That's unclear, because forcing this knight closer to f5, I don't know. And also rook d8, rook takes d4 is probably, yes. Yeah. So I guess he just wants to play rook c7 here. And go from here, which means that there's definitely
no,
an argument.
hang on. MVR got disconnected and lost. Oh my God, what is happening?
Whoa.
This match is like a fairy tale.
Yeah, that's unusual. For one match to have all of this in the four games, that they played, to have a queen blunder mouse slip immediately returned by MVL by allowing mate in 4 with white, and then for MVL to lose by disconnection in a position he would never ever lose, is really, really quite remarkable.
And imagine if he did it on purpose. It will be very interesting to hear afterwards the thoughts. You just never know. We have seen so much sportsmanship from both of them that you just never, you can't rule anything out already.
Yeah, I don't think that would be taking it a little bit too far, because yes, he was worse in game 2 where Vlad made a mouse slip, but he wasn't like down a rook. So, and also if he wanted to resign game 4 and just play an Armageddon, he could have done it in 2 moves. And he played a well fought game, and then to just decide to give it to Vladi, that doesn't sound very like him.
Yeah, on the other hand, yeah, if it was a real disconnect, then it will be psychologically now so very tough for Maxime to react to the new situation.
Yeah, it's no longer really fun in games.
And what about this? So White's king reached G3 and Black is still having some... Of course, Black is hoping for knight e7, but it might not be in time. Bishop d3, can we play bishop d3?
Yeah, I think what Prag is saying here is that he wants to improve the king situation first and then decide which of the white weaknesses he wants to play against.
Yeah, but my problem is that, for example, let's just imagine you play king f8, I'm going to go bishop e4. I mean, this king will never really be so safe, yeah? Whenever I get to the a7 pawn, this king will still be in some mating net.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like bishop d3, e4, because bishop d3 also does a very good job of stopping knight e7, knight f5 check, which would be my probably second preferred plan here as black.
Yeah, and then we have to kind of understand, for example, bishop d3, knight b4, how do we evaluate this? After knight b4, then maybe we simply play bishop b1 even, yeah?
Yeah, there is this option at least. Yeah, we can play bishop b1 using the fact that we still control h7, so the pawn cannot be taken because rook c8 is mate in 2. I will just mention that this is heating up quite a bit, this game between Lazovic and Noribek, because after knight bd7, queen b2, the game continued knight f8, queen a3, knight d7, which really doesn't look right. You probably should not be doing this, spending 2 tempi on nothing. And then, and this is another speech I give all the time, but I just want to say that I think Vichy just takes on c5 with the knight here and just makes a draw, right? And like, you never touch his pieces.
Yeah, but here the problem is the c6 square, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, of course, he would prefer not to have played b6 earlier, but specifically, like, Vichy comes to mind for me because he's been defending these types of structures for years and years and years, and he seems to be entirely untroubled. Whenever I watch him play these types of positions, he just goes like knight takes c5, a5, rook a8, g6, queen d6, and just, you know, smiles.
But that's the problem with Vichy, yeah? That if he doesn't want to win, he wants to be solid, he can simply be solid, yeah? He's just too good, yeah?
Yeah. So instead, Noribek goes b takes c5, queen a5, g6, bishop b5, and the pressure is now so immense against his hanging pawns that he decided to go for this gamble of going knight e5, knight e5, queen takes c5, where Denis, if he wanted to, could actually, I think, take on c5. And after knight g4, maybe we just go h3. I don't know. Something like this, because queen h2, king f1, king e2, like...
But hang on, after h3, there is knight takes e3?
Ah. But then maybe queen e1 or something, I don't know.
Wow, yes. This is lovely.
It's an understandable decision by the young man to just play h3 here, because he is still going to be quite a bit better. His advantage is not going to be gone, but if you can take on c5 and nothing bad happens to you immediately, you should, of course, quite happily take on c5, because that probably wins you the game.
Yeah, it doesn't look like black has enough activity, and the rook on a8 is still far away. The knight from f6 should join the battle with knight e4, but you can maybe play bishop d3.
Yeah, just bishop d3, and it feels like the pawns will still be falling. It's the best maybe you can hope for is just to play something like d4, hoping to get.
But the problem is that this queen on a5 is such a monster that it also pins the rook on d8.
Yeah, it's just not great at all, yeah.
So maybe you can just take bishop e4, queen e4, rook c5.
And then, I don't know, rook c4, rook d4 somewhere, and queen c3. Yeah. This looks lost, yeah. This looks lost, and also I think it's noticeable that the most natural move in the position, knight e4, has not been played yet. So it's clear that Noribek is not really enjoying the prospect of having to make that move. In the meantime, in the lower bracket, Anish and Prague are still playing this position. And there's been a lot of moves in Vincent against Yuan Yi, and Vincent is just a pawn up. That was a bit weird because it looked like they were playing a kind of a perfectly normal hedgehog. And then Yuan Yi played knight f6 here, and Vincent just took on d6 twice. And it turned out that there is no way to win this pawn back. And since then, they're basically playing this position, which is just a pawn up position for Vincent, which is quite unusual because...
maybe you was hoping for that he has some dynamic, but somehow it did not materialize.
Yeah, because b6 is always very weak. Like whatever you do, you either, if you take on e4 here, you will just lose a lot of material to the pin, and you would maybe like to play knight c5 here, and this maybe would have been somewhat playable with a pawn on a7, but here it just loses to rook takes b6 because your queenside is just going to collapse. So yeah, a bit of a strange sequence, because I think after e4, I understand white is probably, to be preferred. But I mean, you play h6 here or whatever,
Yes.
like whatever they do in these types of positions, and you continue shuffling. And yes, you probably haven't equalized, but you're not losing, not by any stretch. Okay, back to the winners semifinal, I guess. Dennis is also doing really well on the clock here.
Yeah, his position is so healthy, that all his moves are coming naturally, while black has to calculate and think about every single decision each time. The hanging pawns, pawn on a7, c5, d5, all vulnerable. This monster queen on a5. I mean, please, whoever watches us, pay attention to this queen, because that's the real difference here.
Yeah, queen b2 chosen, which the engine does not endorse.
I mean, do we play some technical stuff or?
Well, the point, of course, is rook c5, knight e4, and then suddenly the f2 pawn is disappearing off the board, which is not great. But we obviously aren't forced into that. The move I very much like right now is the move bishop d3, just to stop the knight from appearing on e4, and also introducing this little idea of rook c2 everywhere, which seems quite strong. The only way not to lose the pawn on c5 immediately is a kind of an ugly move like knight d7, and then we can kick the queen away and go back to some ideas like this, for instance. And yeah, black's position does seem like it's absolutely on the verge of collapse.
Yeah. I mean, how long you can hold on to all those weaknesses?
Yeah, and Dennis understandably is evaluating his options after queen b2. Bishop d3 is not the only move, but it does seem like the most logical, because we don't really want to have to calculate knight e4 in every single position.
And also, when your opponent played the move queen b2 and he's trying to look for some desperate counterplay, then it's so tempting to just stop it. Yeah, bishop d3, rook c2, I'm kicking you back. Please, sir, go back where you have started, and we take it from there.
Absolutely. Doggo is now. He wants to be
Queen c3 chosen. Queen c3.
Yeah, queen c3 is a bit of a conservative choice. I mean, we're still going to be better, but it feels like maybe we're giving black a chance to stabilize somehow.
I mean, somehow reach some 4 versus 3 on the king side positions, and then suffer, but maybe hold somehow. Yeah, now we are also waiting for the continuation of this episode of Kramnik versus MVI. Yeah, we don't know exactly what happened.
There is some very disturbing things being mentioned in the Twitch chat, which I don't know if they're necessarily true. But if that's the case, that's very unfortunate. It seems like maybe people are saying that MVL has been having some issues, and Armageddon is not. I mean, we can see Armageddon is not starting, but there is no immediate clarity as to exactly why the Armageddon isn't starting. This is the position here. I assume we take on d4. We don't really want to allow knight c3, so we take, and now we are free to play. Like f3 exists. Joyce, yeah, we can do all kinds of things here. Interesting that he hasn't played e takes d4 yet. Like, what else is even the option?
I mean, good or bad, I'm happy for black here. Yeah, that there are chances. Yeah, the rook is joining the party, the knight jumps, and all kinds of scenarios that we might save this position.
Yeah. And once again, it's kind of interesting because if we could play h3, h2 here, and then play f3, I think I would feel like I'm maybe winning. But because f3 invites knight g3, and then the knight gets to some good squares, like king f2, knight f5, we're still not really comfortably taking on c5 because rook d2 check happens. We can play g4, then the knight jumps further to d6. So, yeah, I don't know how clean this is. I don't know how clean this is.
Yeah, in any case, much better than it used to be for black. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and what about Anish versus Prague? What is happening there? White has stabilized, so he's gonna go probably rook a3, rook a5. Yeah, that would be like the natural.
Yeah, this is now just incredibly unpleasant for black because no immediate counterplay materialized. White is completely stable. We didn't play g6, meaning that our king side is forever compromised, and we have weaknesses. Everything is protected from the white. So yeah, Anish should be winning this, I think, normally. You can still, of course, misplay and not win, but
yeah, and Vincent against Yuyangi, it's still a pawn up, but Yuyangi is trying to sit on the b5 square. I mean, what do you think? Is it easy or is it a really tough way to...
Well, we're now... feels like it might just be winning by force somehow, right? Or maybe not. Bishop takes d3. I thought there might be some tactics connected with queen d8 check, which will just win the game for us, but knight takes d3. I assume you have to, yeah, queen takes a5. And the question is, after queen d8, king h7, is there a way to make some kind of immediate progress?
No, not obvious.
Yeah, and there's been a tweet by MVL, which got mentioned on in the Chess24 chat. So since it's sort of his official position and it's now tweeted out, MVL says, brutal end of match. I couldn't stop getting disconnected in games 2 and 4 while still in the Zoom call. So I have to assume server errors, as I don't see any other explanation. Under those circumstances, I don't want to play the Armageddon. Which is just a very sad situation. Somebody like MVL would not enjoy the idea of refusing to play in an official tournament against somebody who, once again, game 3, he is not blaming game 3 on disconnects. Game 3 is him being a gentleman. So it's clearly not a decision that comes to him easily. But you can also understand not wanting to play the decisive game when you don't know if you will be able to actually play it properly. If the software refuses to allow you to play, I don't know how they get resolved, but yeah, this is the current statement from the MVL side.
Yeah, it's kind of also understandable, yeah, that he did the gentlemanly stuff. He might feel like now it's Vlad's turn to resign the match, maybe. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling, yeah, that it's. But Vlad might think like, come on, but when I made the mouse slip, I was kind of winning. I would have equalized the score. So it's like a very, very tricky situation. Very tricky.
It's really unfortunate because really it's nobody's fault. You like there's no party that's at fault here. You can't really blame anybody for this situation. And I don't know what the organizers are supposed to do. I don't know what the players are supposed to do. It's just very, very unfortunate from every side.
I mean, basically, the players try to get the best out of the situation. And that's why I say that I very much would prefer if those kind of mousely blunders, which are absolutely clear and obvious that it was just a total blunder, then you can take back the move and the players can continue the game, because then you can avoid this kind of situation, because they both did the gentlemanly stuff and still at the end of the day it becomes ugly, yeah, for one of the sides.
Yeah, it's all very regrettable because it was a very interesting, when the chess games were actually going on, they were very good and interesting chess games, and neither of them wants this to happen, of course. Like neither of them is enjoying this right now, but it's unclear what the resolution is supposed to be. We'll wait for the final answer, and until then, I think like the tweet has been published, so we are sort of reporting on the news here. But apart from just reading out the MVL statement, there's really not very much for us to add.
Yeah, and basically we are sympathizing with both players, yeah,
yes.
Because that's it.
So this is the position in Lazavik Norebek, and this is what I was sort of worried for Denis, worried about some kind of a position where the knight on g3 gets supported by, let's say, h5, h4, and you make a lot of progress elsewhere. For instance, now he can play rook c7, and he probably wins the pawn on f7, but the king on g1 is incredibly unsafe. So, and for the rest of the game, he will have to play with this very, very clear understanding that he cannot allow any kind of counterplay. Like the second rook cannot be allowed to get to e2 or to get to support rook d1 check in some moment. So it's going to be tricky to win for.
Yeah, white goes after the f7 pawn, yeah, with rook c7. And how do you react now? Do you go for which defense? Active or passive defense? That's the big question.
I'm a bit surprised by rook f8. I guess he felt that giving up the f7 pawn would give white their own mating threats with the two rooks on the 7th. But yeah, if you do this, it's just very difficult to imagine how you become active. And white, yes, the king on g1 is very, very locked in, but you can just get your pawn to a6 while keeping the rook on e1, and then you can like reevaluate. Because black is really not generating any threats. With white controlling the e-file, I just don't see how you generate.
Well, maybe when you push a4, then I might go with the rook behind and then try to go rook d8, giving up the f7 pawn, and then I run king h6. Of course, it should look, but what to do?
Yeah, something like this. Yeah, you just go in here. Whoops, not rook c8. Sorry, rook d8, rook f7, king h6, and rook dd2 is an actual very, very serious threat. And we're seeing something along these lines. And after the rook leaves the d2 square, white immediately occupies the d file, which are very much like, which means that there are no open files for the d8 for the f8 rook to actually get to the white camp. This is very nicely done by Denis. Anish, in the meantime, has won his game 1 against Prague, I'm pretty sure. Was in the end a little bit of a positional masterpiece there. Very nicely played by Anish.
And look at this. UNG is probably surviving against Vincent.
Somehow, in the end, Vincent, after queen before queen a6, he chose to go for this queen ending, which is probably still winning, but generally speaking, I would avoid, or at least try to avoid, playing queen endings of any sort, because they just drawing tendencies are very, very strong in these types of positions. And in the end, Yuengi found a way to trade this one for this one, and the current position is this, which you
already the king reached to f5, or white's king is on f5.
It was on a 5 for a second, and then it went back. So
okay, yeah, it does not. I mean, it does not really change.
Yeah, there is this dance going on. Yeah, let's take a look at this.
Yeah, let's take a look.
They have very, very little time, and it's becoming, they're getting to the critical point of the game. But now we just run. I would have actually preferred king e3. I think maybe he didn't want to allow a 4 check and knight f5, something like that. But I very much agree with the idea of forgetting about the g2 pawn and just running towards the queen side, while also perhaps pushing. I like knight h5 though. Knight h5 is a very clever move. Stopping f4 check, trying maybe to get this knight to f4. Yeah, is there a threat? There's still no threat, right? Just go a7. Yeah, just go a7. Just put a marker down that the pawn is now on the 7th.
Well, but if black pushes f4, you should never move the bishop from c4 due to look at one check.
No. Honestly, this is still very much a game. Like, I can easily imagine this. Whoa, that's not good. Yeah, because king e2, king d2. I think he wanted king e3, rook e1, but yeah. And now we just run towards c3. Yeah, just run towards c3. It will be completely safe on c3, and then you will find a way to win rook c8. But yeah, even king b4, I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's basically designs.
Eventually we'll play rook a6, or we'll play rook d4 check and d4 check, and it'll be over. Yeah, so he either resigned or lost on time here. So this goes to the Armageddon, and 0 draws in this match, and 0 points scored by black in the 4 games that they played. Quite impressive.
Yeah, this is a little bit disturbing for black.
Yeah. And this is the Prague versus Geary game 2, where once again we see the London, and Prague doesn't play this fashionable e6 queen b6 line. Sorry, Anish doesn't play e6 queen b6, which is what Dubov played in one of the earlier games. Goes for this line. I'm trying to figure out if I have this in the course or not. I think I was suggesting g6 here and then bishop g7 castles, and it was working out for me somehow, but I'm not 100% sure. Instead, Anish goes f6, which is, it looks like a very strange move, but denying white control over the e5 square is extremely logical. Do we know anything about this, Peter?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'm looking at the Vincent's position, and I discovered some nice ideas, but no. Okay, not. No, I wanted to give some stalemate, but it did not work. So it still goes on. Of course, it's a dead draw position now, but it will be played on.
I think I've seen this exact endgame getting. Whoa. Okay, this is how the game should end, right?
Yes. This was the motive. Yeah, this was the motive I had in mind.
Yeah, this is how the game should end, but probably won't, because I think Vincent sees it and doesn't want to allow it. I think we'll watch this to conclusion, and then we will switch to either the Prague Geary game, or maybe they will start the Armageddon in the Lazavic-Abdusatorov match.
Yeah, and we are still waiting for the news, the development, what's happening in the MBL Kramnik.
Yeah, and kind of a funny bit of trivia from the tournament we're not actually covering, but in Division 3, there is an Armageddon going on right now between Alexei Tsarina and Matthias Blübaum, where the bidding for the Armageddon was 1140 against 1141.
Unbelievable.
So 1 second difference somehow.
Wow, and look at this. This is very funny that the game just finished, and instantly there is action already in the second game. I mean, as a player would definitely call out for a timeout. I mean, 2 minutes, let me run to the bathroom, let me run, wash my face, whatever, and then get ready in 2 minutes, but not immediately.
In particular, because this is their second match of the day. This is not... They've already won a match to get here. So they're not very fresh. I'm a bit surprised by this, yeah.
Yeah, but probably everybody has his own routine. Like, we want to have the break, and the youngsters say, no, let us play as many games as possible without any break.
All
right, so let's go to the Prague's game for the moment, yeah, because they progressed already a little bit further.
So c4, d takes c4, and Anish is playing... With Anish, I want to say that probably he's been surprised by something, because he's already spent 2 minutes, but...
But hang on, can we just go move per move? Because so much happened here in just a couple of moves from a seemingly solid and easy London system.
So yeah, Black has gone for a very, very concrete line here with Queen a5, Knight c3, Knight e4, trying to trade a lot of stuff off the board. Castles, provoking Knight c3 before taking on c6. And as I said, I think my course goes g6, rook e1, bishop g7, e4, d4, rook e4, castles. I think I was holding this way. And the engine suggests that our counterplay against the queen side is enough, that we don't have to actually even care about the e7 pawn. Maybe we start with bishop f5 and then play castles. Maybe this is the more precise order, but I'm not 100% sure. And the other point was that if after g6 white goes knight e5, we can actually play f6, because taking on c6 just costs you queen b6, I think, is more, or queen b5 or somewhere, just to keep control of the b8 square. I have a feeling this is what I give, but my memory is not what it used to be. So he goes f6, c4, dc. Prague understandably goes d4, d5, trying to get to some squares, trying to activate his queen d8.
And e4.
Here, yeah, and the point, of course, is if you take on c6, black goes e7, e5, and these two pieces become very, very stupid. So white is not really interested in that at all. Goes e4, Anish takes on d5. I assume we don't want the queen trade. But e5, we have to worry about bishop b7, right?
Yeah, we do. I mean, queen takes d5, then e5, it will be a different story.
Maybe we do this. Yeah, d6, e5, and like
knight takes e5. Yeah, that's a massacre already.
Yeah. Yeah, e5 played, and now Anish, Anish is thinking. He also has the option of playing e5 immediately.
Yes.
But I think we probably reply the same. I think this is always going to be what we will at least attempt to do with white, right?
Yeah, let's just show the lines. So f takes e5, queen h5, king d7.
I don't know. But
how does
like my issue would be, I don't know.
Just takes.
Yeah, I don't know how to move any piece here with black, because you would like to play like queen f6 or queen e7, but then queen c7 wins.
And queen e6 checkmate is a threat also.
Yeah. That actually is a good point. Yeah, I'm threatening mate in one. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't even realize.
And Anish goes king f7. He's already hiding that king. Yeah, he makes sure that this knight takes e5 motive will be eliminated from the position.
Yeah, and now he wants to play e5 or maybe even e6 to be slightly more circumspect.
Or even bishop b7. I mean, depending what white will do. Yeah, rook b1. That's a good move.
Yeah, well, stopping bishop b7 makes a ton of sense. And now we definitely feels like the e-pawn has to go somewhere, because you can't not do anything about being so undeveloped for so long.
Well, but I mean, hang on. After e5, d takes e6, bishop e6, rook b7 check. There are many things happening.
I guess you have to play king g8, right?
Ooh, okay. But are you sure you're gonna survive?
No.
That's a fair answer, yes.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It's a very double-edged position. Very interesting.
Yeah. So
and what if we don't do anything and we try to play some queen d7, bishop b7, rook d8? It's too slow, or can we do it?
Good question, yeah. Because white is still sort of struggling to land any kind of a blow against this formation. rook e1, bishop b7. I want to find a way to play either knight e5 or knight g5 and then do something, but the king will be so safe on g8.
Yes.
In all of these positions.
It's a
So
very
what's the
intriguing
plan?
position.
Yeah, it's a very interesting position to discuss. We can play d6 ourselves, which probably forces e6. But my problem is I am not sure we're supposed to be happy about it.
Yeah, it's difficult to evaluate.
Yeah. I don't know if we're supposed to be happy about it at all.
But also after d6, maybe, no, it's not. Yeah, otherwise, very difficult to answer. Yeah, d6.
Maybe queen c6 or something.
Yeah, maybe queen c6,
Just to
because
stop
bishop
queen
b7,
d5,
d7 is too unfortunate.
You know, this is suddenly looking fantastic for
Yeah.
black. Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting.
Mm. And definitely looks like both of them are out of book now, judging by the timings. So, yeah.
And look at the clock
not an easy
situation
position.
of the bidding procedure.
Oh,
Wow.
people really like playing with the black pieces. And once again, the speech you gave when we were discussing the Dubov Armageddon against Prague is very much in play, because Noribek bet 1230 and Lazovic bet 9.
Yes.
And obviously you don't know what your opponent will bet, but like something that so far there is not enough sample size. But I get the feeling that if this format continues, and it looks like it's continuing, there are some people unhappy with it, but I think they're in the minority. So there is no reason to expect this to stop. It will maybe start making sense for people to actually write down and keep a database of
Yes.
what people are betting. Because maybe you can find some definite hints about what people think about this. And then, if Lazovic knows Noribek is very conservative with the betting, he can go 10.5 and still be black. Very interesting spot. And the Armageddon started there with the 9 minutes against 15 there for the younger men. They're both young men, but for the younger men.
Exactly. I mean, Noribek is the older. That's also sensational.
Yeah, it's quite something. Yeah,
but okay, there is Gukesh. Yeah, Gukesh, who is younger than anyone else. Yeah, so basically the youngsters has to get used to that. Always someone is younger.
Yeah, Noribek is now 18.
I think he's 18 and will be 19 in June or something.
Yes, September it says, but
September,
not 19 yet. And Denis, as we discovered yesterday, is still 16. So they're playing for a change. They're playing a somewhat classical Catalan with no d takes c4 played here, and White decides not to give up that pawn. Goes queen c1. So we have a slower setup. Bishop f4, bishop b7, rook d1, knight h5, and Noribek decides to trade these bishops. This feels like White should be quite happy about things, right?
But on the other hand, Black is also solid, and probably Lazovic said, you know what? I got two terrible positions in the open Catalan. Let me just play something closed. I have experience from the White side, and Abdusatov, after all, haven't played so many Catalans in his life. That would be an argument. By the way, breaking news, Anish Giri has opted for our queen d7 move there.
Yeah, that's the liveliest position of the three that we have on the boards. But for now, let's talk about this for a second. I think what you're saying about Noribek maybe not being as experienced in this is fair. But I think, as far as Catalans go, this is very nice for White.
Yes.
This is very, very nice. I think, honestly, just move by move, this is a lot of trouble because White can now play c5, right?
Yeah, white plays c5,
E5.
and it's a terrible queen's Indian for black.
Yeah, no, this is just horrible. And he also has the 6 minutes on the clock. So yeah, this has not, at least so far, this has not really worked out for Denis at all. What do we play here? Because weirdly, I'm wondering if we're supposed to take on f6 so that the knight doesn't come to g5.
It's a tough choice, yeah, because both are
Yeah,
promising.
Yeah, we can do something like rook d7 or rook d6. I don't know which one I like better. Let's go rook d6, rook fg8 though. Let's go rook d7. Rook b8. But then rook fg8. Yeah, I don't like trading pieces.
Yeah, and the rook on
So
a1
we
is
probably
still far
choose
away.
this, yeah. Ah, he took on f6 yeah, finally, yeah, and gone rook d6. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, he
Rook
wants to make
AB8
sure to move
chosen
the
by
queen as
Denis.
quickly as possible, yeah? Yeah, rook ab8, okay, hinting at the b2 pawn.
Yeah, and here very cleverly, like the rook is on a1, it's very important, so white doesn't have time to play b3, so you'll have to burn a tempo on something like rook b1. But you're probably still doing very, very well, even if you do that. So queen d8, bishop a8. This is not a move I would have made. I think I would have been so scared it never comes out that, like, I would actually prefer to give up the pawn on c6 and have this bishop in the game somewhere.
But he's trying a very direct approach. Yeah, rook b1, rook b5, he's targeting the c5 pawn.
This is clever, yeah. Yeah, he's just playing very, very concretely. And I think he is just more correct and more on point than my general point I was trying to make there.
Yeah, this is the young generation. They don't mind playing ugly moves unless it works. Yeah, they have direct purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just difficult to preserve the pawn on c5 without giving up on b2. This is very clever, actually, by Denis. And in the meantime, d6, queen c6 is on the board in, in Prague's game, yeah.
Yeah. And we weren't exactly sure how to react against.
Yeah, and they're both down to basically 6.5, and this is move 15, which I think by their standards is just incredibly slow. Back to the Armageddon, and Nordebeck in the end chooses to play a4, rook takes e5 and rook d1, trying, I guess, to play against that bishop on a8, maybe trying to create a threat of rook d8. So now I think we very much would like to dig it out.
And he's also trying to somehow lock down this rook on c5, but can you really lock it out?
Yeah, it has too many squares on the fifth. Yeah, you can't really. One thing I was worried about for a second was this idea.
But rook c2.
Both c5 and b7, but rook c2 exists, yeah. And you don't actually win any material. So what do we do?
Yeah, I'm not sure at all. I mean, because it looked like white had this wonderful position with total control, and now there is all kinds of craziness happening.
He's played bishop f1, which I think the problem might be that rook d5 is very strong. Yeah.
Yeah, rook d5, of course. Yeah, rook d5.
Rook d5 is very strong, and rook
after
takes
rook
d5,
d5, cd5, we open up the bishop.
Yeah, and I also have queen takes b2. For a second there, I thought the problem was queen f3, followed by d5, d4, and mate. But we do have rook d3. But I think we just take on b2 very, very calmly and play this position. And this really should not be a problem at all for black.
I think Nordebeck ran into this trap, yeah, that he was better on the position and way up on the clock. He should have paused. There was just absolutely no reason for him to rush, make all those decisions. Like, you remember we were debating, should you go for knight d6, should you take on f6? He took those decisions way too lightly in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a moment where he justifiably could have paused for as long as he wanted, because it's an important decision and you want to get it right. Yeah, he goes queen e1 now, and yeah, this looks like it's really kind of going off the rails, because we can I can take on d6 and take on b2, for instance. Black is just fine, maybe better even.
Yeah, definitely nothing to worry about, and still you can even open up with c5 at some point.
Yeah, we can start by c5 and then queen f3 is a threat. Yeah, you're just or the immediate c5, which is what C5, Dennis prefers. Yeah. Now the only question is, can Nordebek keep this game alive for long enough to maybe start playing against the clock? But
it doesn't
6
look
minutes.
realistic,
No, 6 minutes looks like it's way too much.
And also it's a very clear-cut position with all the everything opened.
Yeah. And this means that it looks like Denis Lazovic, all of 16 years of age, is going to be in the finals of Division 2, as it currently stands.
But hang on, Peter, you are now very confidently stating that he's 16. Yesterday we weren't sure if 16 or 17. Did you check him up?
I found it somewhere. Hang on a second. Let me try this again.
Yeah, let's just clarify.
Let me try this again.
He's definitely very young, but
yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know exactly because he apparently is still not worthy of a Wikipedia page, which I think will get adjusted pretty soon. Like
yes.
the way he's playing, he will have a Wikipedia page pretty soon, but he doesn't have one yet. So we have his profile on the FIDE website, which only gives his birth year as 2006, which doesn't really give us enough
yes.
info.
Okay. Then waiting for an interview with him to understand exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and here Nordebek is pausing, but it's a little bit too late to pause now because the position, as you were saying, the position is extremely well defined now. The bishop is now alive, black is a pawn up. You're struggling to equalize here with white.
Yeah, everything is healthy, everything is protected. It's terrible. And we haven't looked at Vincent's game. What about Vincent's game? Just quickly to get an update.
First one was a draw, and second one, like if you didn't know what the opening was, you would probably think it was an Alekhine, right?
Well, or it was some reversed kind of this new Ragozin business, yeah. I mean,
but in fact, it was a Panov, which somehow started resembling those Alekhine structures at some point.
Yeah, but also this new kind of Taraj that people are playing with black. It's very similar.
Yeah, and looks like black shouldn't really be doing all that poorly, right? Without, like, white achieved something on the queen side, but there is nobody there. Like you've gotten through, but there are no pawns there for you to attack, and you have this perennial weakness on the d4 square, which you have to guard with everything.
Yeah, it looks fairly balanced. Yuanji, of course, up on the clock, but yeah, Vincent stabilized. We can move on and look at this. Abdusatov goes for queen c3. He offers that queen trade.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had no better choice, really.
Yeah.
Rook d1. And now I think the simplest solution is probably just to go bishop c6, bishop b5, take, and play c4 here. And eventually this... I mean, if you just want to make a draw, this is, I think, what you do. But you're probably just better, so you don't have to. And Denis just goes bishop d5 here and says, I don't have to beg. I'm just better. Why would I need to beg for a draw?
Yeah, this bishop on d5 is a monster. White can't take on c5 because of queen f3 and then checkmate. So... And after queen f6, gf6, it's basically capitulation with this match situation.
Yeah. Yeah, bishop b5 played, and now he takes on... I guess he'll just play c5, c4 himself, right? Yeah, just to make sure that the bishop on d5 is completely safe. And then we go with the king to c5. If not for the match situation, this would not even be a question for us to discuss, but because he has to, he will continue. But
Yeah, he will go f4 and f4 is on the board. There, f4, rook c8, then king f2, king e3. The king is coming. Black is also bringing his king.
Mm-hmm. Vincent, by the way, chose to break with e6, e5, which is honestly surprising to me. I don't know why he would feel he needs to. My biggest question is, what was wrong with just chilling? Like, I don't know, rook d7. If white takes, we're happy. If white doesn't take, we have the a file.
But probably he felt like maybe some takes f4, stopping any kind of e5s, and then white.
Yeah, but I don't think you ever lose this. Do you?
Yeah, probably not. But he probably thinks that I can also just break everything.
Yeah, and also I think his reasoning. Yeah, I think his reasoning is also the bishop on g4 is very awkward. So if white takes, we get to win a lot of tempi and start pushing. And that gets it, like the decision for Yang Yi here is also quite awkward. I wonder if he is maybe supposed to play something like bishop h5, provoke g6, put the bishop back on f3, and then maybe take on h6. But this becomes very tricky as well, like the d pawn might run.
Yeah. Wow, hang on. Abdusatulov creating some chances, or am I... look at this.
Yeah. This is...
wow. What a turnaround. We left it for 5 seconds, and that's what we get.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to lose this now.
Yes.
Extremely easy. Rook takes a4, rook a7 check, and then rook takes g7, and then king e6, king f6.
Wow. What happened here?
So they were shuffling, and then instead of, I don't know, rook e7 and then e5 check or something, he played rook c6, and suddenly bishop b7, and I think you're supposed to play rook c5 now, just to take with the rook. Yes, you give up the c pawn, but this endgame you are really not supposed to lose, right? Rook c5 check, and then
yeah, we'll just push e5. Yeah, also create your own passer.
Yeah, but here I think he just autopiloted rook b6, and now this is the position, and this is very losable.
Yes.
In fact, it is completely lost. Yeah, king takes f6, king g6, f6. It's just dead.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
what we are witnessing here.
Yeah, not we. I mean, it was me basically. I managed to jinx him very, very successfully there. Yeah. I apologize to the young man.
Well, I take the blame as well, because I think we did it together. It was just impossible to imagine that anything can go wrong.
Yeah, just king g6, f6, you're completely winning here. Or king g7 and then king g6. It doesn't really matter. The game actually is completely over. There is not going to be any additional surprises. And look at this. Is Prague winning? Yeah, Prague is somehow completely winning.
Wow, he sacrificed the piece. Yeah, you wanted to sacrifice as well?
Yeah. So how did that happen? So he played knight g2. I really, really didn't like bishop a6, by the way. I saw bishop a6 and I thought, this is not the direction I want to put my pieces into. So rook e1, e d6, knight e4, d5. I guess he blundered knight takes f6. That's the only explanation, right? Knight takes f6, and suddenly the king is boxed in on the king side, and this is, no, hang on a second, no, this is not what happened. Queen g6 check, bishop g7, rook e7, rook h7, bishop h6, and he resigned here.
That's it. Wow, this was some magic by Prague.
Yeah, that was a massively, massively impressive game, but yeah, I was very surprised because like it doesn't feel like it should be on e6, right? It should be close to your king. So I was kind of shocked when I saw it going in the other direction. Of course, there will be some issues with putting it on e6 as well, because after rook e1, you have to start calculating some exchange sacrifices. So it's not like it's an easy position to play, but yeah, it turned out
But I mean, even some ideas like e5 and then put the bishop to e6, or does e5 lose by force?
I guess this is probably what he is intending, right? Something like this.
Yeah, it's very risky.
And then it becomes once again.
But
it becomes
hang
kind
on,
of
after
scary.
bishop takes e5, I can play now bishop something. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't need to take this bishop. Bishop e6.
That is a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Unfortunately, this would be a position we could very happily talk about for like 15 minutes, but there's still stuff going on. Vincent is still playing against Yuan Yi in that second game of their match. And by the way, this means that there will be an Armageddon in the Giri Prague match. We will find out about the bidding pretty soon. And there is a Kramnik MVL starting position on my screen, but I don't know if they resolved it somehow or not. There's still not been any news that I'm aware of.
Yes. I mean, I'm really hoping that there will be some
resolution.
Yeah, something, but it's very tough.
Yeah. Looks like somebody is visiting us, and the doggo is very excited. I apologize for all the frenzied barking that's been going on.
And hang on, so does it mean that Abdusatulov reaches the final? I mean, what a turnaround there. Yeah, we already, I mean, I envisioned Dennis already in the finals, to be honest. Yeah,
me as well. Yeah, you don't really expect somebody to lose this kind of a very, very healthy position. And because like I feel dirty even mentioning this, because I'm an old scared person who does old scared things. But just going back to that for a second and returning to that moment where I said, you can, if you want, just do this. Yeah, bishop c6, you have to play bishop b5, because if you play rook a1, I will play rook b8, you will never play bishop b5 again. So you do it now. We take, we play c4, you play rook a1, I play rook a8. And then eventually the a pawn will trade for the b pawn. I'm pretty sure this is like rook a4, I go like king f8 here. Rook c4, a4. And this gets traded for this, and we have this 4 against 4, which we know how to play. And I understand it's stupid. I understand that like you also aren't supposed to lose this, but just get some pieces off the board.
Yeah, but it's kind of really unimaginable that black can lose this. Yeah. I mean, in general, he also had the option of just going some g5 at some point with black. Yeah, open up the g5, create counterplay there.
Yeah,
you are pawn
exactly.
up. It's
like somewhere here, just go g5. Now that we're looking at this position, that actually is maybe even a bigger question. Why aren't we playing g5 here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we might just win the game, to be honest.
Yeah. Just play like g5. White, I don't know, goes whatever, h4. We take. We go rook g8, bishop takes c4, we go e5 check. And then we go rook g4. And, if the game continues, we win it. Maybe our opponent offers us a draw somewhere, but if the game continues, we will just win the game. Yeah, very disappointing, of course, for the young man, because he was about to get to the tiebreak there, but not anymore. Was that the thing? Was that the I've lost track.
No, this was the Armageddon.
That was the Armageddon. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, basically, he equalized on game 4, on demand, and then he had everything in his own hands.
Yep. So this is currently, because we don't have any idea as to what's going on in the other semifinal. And let me check if maybe there is some updates, but doesn't seem like there is. This is the only game for us to watch right now. First game was a draw. Second game also feels like it probably should be a draw, but it's become a bit sharp, right? Because
and Vincent is down to 30 seconds. I see some, rook b4 was a nice move, stopping any bishop e4, knight e3 regroupings. And if he can eliminate that monster pawn on c6, then okay. However, there is this f5 square, yeah,
maybe we do something like this with white, and we try to create some uncertainty, in particular against somebody, as you mentioned, somebody on very, very low time.
Yes.
Rook a8 check. I don't know. He probably okay. He wants to go, but that just makes a draw immediately. Like bishop bishop b7 c7. I'm losing my mind. So we go bishop c7,
Well,
but then rook
have to.
ca8 might be the only move. Yeah. He just
He takes the pawn.
But we can take, right? Because rook c2 king 94. Yeah.
Yes,
And
but
he just goes
93
93.
happened.
Yeah, no, but okay, this you shouldn't win. This you shouldn't win.
Bishop b6.
This is a very clever move, by the way. Just making sure the knight never gets to f5.
Exactly.
And if knight d5, we go rook d4. Yeah, this makes a draw. This makes a draw, so this will be an Armageddon.
Well, Vincent down to 12 seconds, but it should be enough. After the rooks are traded, that's it.
I don't think so. So 2 Armageddons in the lower bracket. Both, and Yuan Yi. I think I've seen enough of Yuan Yi play to know that he would just offer a draw there. I don't think he's very interested in trying to play 2 against 2 on one side.
I wonder if we have now maybe a chance to have a 2 minutes break because we didn't have.
Yeah, I would actually not hate that at all. Yeah, let's go on a bit of a break.
Yeah, and be back with the Armageddon.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts. Chessable. Take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Sam Shankland. I was the US champion in 2018. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if I believe there is an easy solution to something, I'm giving it. No questions asked. Thanks much, and I wish you the best for all your studying.
Another day, another way for me to open up to you. Another day, another way for me to open up to you. I used to worry I would wake up one day only to find with nothing more to say. Now I'm in silence.
Hello, this is Christoph Zielecki and welcome to my Keep It Simple 1D4 course.
When I saw her for the first time, it was love at first sight. I love how rich and complex she is, how sharp and principled her first steps, how graceful her movement. Paris is the city of love. I've come to find my love for the French defense.
It doesn't look like much, but neither would a Sicilian defense to the untrained eye. This is a performance enhancer. You don't see it? How about now? Manage your air quality, sharpen your performance, change the game
Imagine
with
an
air.
ultimate quant challenge where your unique way of thinking could propel you further while competing against some of the best. The International Quant Championship 2023, a three-stage competition where teams of 1 to 4 people will use World Quant's brain simulation platform to build algorithms. Ready, set, quant. Competitors gain points based on the quality and the quantity of their ideas. Those who perform well may be considered for internship or full-time employment opportunities at World Quant. Winners could receive cash prizes and attend the live global finals in the Bahamas. Don't wait. Break into the world of quantitative finance in one of the largest quant competitions on the planet. Sign up. Team up. Train. Compete. Are you the next quant champion?
Welcome back to day 3 of the Chessable Masters Division 2 coverage. I'm Peter Svidler, with me is Peter Leko, and we only have Armageddons to watch. We don't know 2 or 3. It's still a bit of an open question if there's going to be 2 Armageddons to watch or 3 Armageddons to watch. But the one we already have running is Anish versus Prague, where Anish goes with knight of 3, knight of 6, g3, and also Anish won the bidding by 9 seconds. 11:27 versus 11:18 by Prague. So Prague plays black with 11 and a bit. And we've seen this already, right, in this tournament.
Vincent has played it.
Yeah, Georg Meyer played it with white against Vincent. And in that game, after e4, bishop e7, I think Georg played c3 here.
Yes.
But Anish goes for the old style line with d3. And somewhat surprisingly for me, Prague instantly goes d5, doesn't castle, doesn't play d6, goes d5, e5, knight e5, rook e1, f6. A very ambitious kind of a reverse King's Indian.
Yeah, because if this works, it's fine. If it backfires, then everybody will blame you. How could you do that?
Yeah. And the game continued.
C3, bishop g4.
C3, bishop g4, h3, knight, bishop h5. I'm trying to kind of imagine in my head what this looks like with colors reversed. And this is like the e takes d4 line with a tempo up, right? If we talk about the actual King's Indian,
let's just check it out.
It would be something like this, right? Knight c3 castles, e4, d6, bishop e2, e5, castles, ed4, knight d4, rook e8, f3, c6, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4. So the difference is imagine the white king still being on e1 here, right? That would be the difference.
But hang on, what happened?
Whoa, knight takes e5 has been seemingly blundered here.
Yes, I mean, it looks like...
And that wins. Just straight up wins.
On the board. Dear. And look at this. Yeah, Prague is just going crazy.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that was one of those weird cases where the tactic did not exist until you made a move, right? It's not like you missed the threat. You created the tactic by actually misplacing one of your pieces. So a normal move here would be something like king h8 and maybe bishop f7, although there's no real reason for you to play bishop f7 before you've been forced to play bishop f7. Maybe queen b3 is already a bit of a threat, so
yeah, I don't king hate h8.
It. Yeah, I don't hate it. Either bishop f7 or king h8. Queen d7 is also a very understandable decision because you want b7 not to be hanging in case of queen b3. But yeah, knight e5 just basically ends the game because like here you lose 7.5 pieces. So you have to play knight takes e5, but after queen takes h5, you're down a healthy pawn, and your position is much worse as well. So yeah, I don't think this is salvageable. under
And
normal
I think we have to
circumstances.
mention why it could happen, because we know that Plug is an incredible tactician. We have witnessed it in his previous game. The point was exactly what we were discussing, that it's a tempi up, tempi down, reversed king Sinden, and his problem was that his king was still in the center. So I believe that at the moment when Anish finally decided that he just plays A4, knight B2, Plug kind of relaxed that, thank you very much, nothing happened, I have time to castle, I'm getting my usual setup. And then his brain just simply stopped working, did not sense the danger at all already.
Yeah, I think this is a fair description. Yeah, and now, yeah, he played rook a8. Anish very understandably played knight c4. Yeah, I mean, you continue because there's like no game has ever been saved by resigning. I feel kind of silly saying all of those things because, you know, one of the things I'm very famous for is resigning in all kinds of positions. But of course, you still play it out, but white is just completely winning.
Yeah, it's not only the pawn, but the soul of the position, the G2 bishop, yeah, the light squares, everything is, and the pawn on F6, everything just indicates that black has absolutely no hopes of surviving this.
Yeah. And Anish, I think, is doing the right thing, not trying to win by force. He's just improving his position slowly. He's gone a4, a5, just to make sure that you deny more squares. You make sure the pawn on b7 stays on b7. You can never play b6 comfortably. If g6, the queen probably goes back to e2 or perhaps f3. And then eventually you start making progress. And once you start making progress, the position collapses. And the other Armageddon also started. The bidding there was, whoa. These are some proper bidding wars. Yuan Yi bid 11 minutes flat, and Vincent bid 10:59. So he wins by 1 second and gets the black pieces. And once again, it's some kind of a weird, not quite London. In fact, it's just a Cole. C5, and he just grabs this pawn here. And Vincent, in reply, goes e6, allowing white seemingly to hang on to the extra material. But now after bishop d7, he takes with this knight. And maybe he just wins the pawn back, yeah?
Yeah, probably he wins the pawn back. Now the big question, and he did not include ABCB, so he's not giving white the chance to go for the notable position.
Well, you can, but you can still go a4 here, but black probably does it this way, right?
It feels like, yeah, that it should be.
And a4 has been played, so Vincent will now have this choice of either getting like a pure notable, which is, once again, we could try comparing this to an actual notable, but it's not that important. Or you can do it the other way and give white seemingly a protected passer on b5. But I very much like the idea of playing c5, c4 here to lock down the structure. And then, as I've indicated, like my ideal setup here would be one knight on c5, one knight on b6, lots of pressure against the a4 pawn. And what Vincent does is he says, I don't even have to commit yet. I can just play bishop b7, castles, and I guess castles, and think about it later.
Yeah, interesting. On the other hand, when if you will play this bc5, yeah, bc5 played, bc5, b5, c4, then you might break with e4 now that you have already castled.
Yeah. I don't think I should be too worried about it, though.
Well, but it's an achievement.
Should I? It is, yeah, it definitely should be played, yeah, because the bishop on c1 needs squares. It's definitely the best move. I'm just wondering if it's so important. But Vincent decides, yeah, I think this is probably wiser. No real need to give white a comfortable e3, e4 break. In the meantime, in the other game, Prague did win the pawn back for the time being, but bishop f1 basically captures this rook. So his position will start collapsing properly now. If you play something like b6, you just lose this exchange immediately. So I guess maybe you play knight g6, but then white can simply take knight takes b7, knight f4 gf, and just collect everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, this monster structure, yeah, the pawn b to c3, completely dominating the knight on c6.
Yeah, these two pieces are just completely negated by by these two pawns. Yeah. I still feel like knight g6 is probably his best chance, but it's not a good chance.
Yeah, it's not a chance
It's
at
not-
all. It's just a move,
yeah.
nothing
Yeah,
else.
it's just a move to continue playing, but
Yeah.
or maybe knight d5 with similar ideas, but the reply probably is the same. Yeah, let's watch the other one, because this one I think we will return to this game if something changes, which I don't expect to happen. Vincent goes knight b6, knight bd2, bishop f6, bishop a3.
Wow, bishop a3, interesting.
Well, he's trying to mix it up, because after bishop takes c3, he will basically have to play bishop takes c5. Because otherwise, if you play rook c1, bishop b4, you are never winning that pawn back. But I don't think in Vincent's position with draw required, whoa, I'm very surprised by this.
Wow, he's really going for it.
I think he will not take on a1. I think he probably, he wants to go knight d7 first. At least go first knight d7. And if white goes bishop a3, then we will think. But I'm still very surprised by this. There has to be a massive reason to bishop takes b6. I don't understand chess at all. Chess is a very difficult game.
Yeah, bishop b6 is a tough choice.
Yeah,
rook c1, rook c8.
The other position looked very attractive to me.
But there you were exchange done. Yeah,
I understand. But in particular, in a must-win game, like, what do we care? Like, who cares about material balance? We want a unbalanced, complicated position. And here, if you give me time to castle here with black, I will be better probably.
Yeah, so but probably white is hoping to get that knight to c6 somehow.
Yeah, so how?
Yeah, that's a question. I mean, I don't know. Do I have time to play knight b3 and then knight d4?
Let's take a look.
Yes, knight bd4.
Queen takes d4, queen takes g7. Sorry, this loses, yeah?
Yeah, this is bad.
So knight b6, knight c6, queen f6.
Queen
F6, but then queen b3 maybe. This is tricky,
yeah,
but he goes queen b3.
It's a very complex position.
Yeah, queen b3. Honestly, I thought I can just take on d2 and castle. I really didn't think that was very much, but maybe I'm misunderstanding the position. Maybe rook c6 very specifically, yeah?
Yeah.
Because once again, if you give black a tempo to play queen d6 here, I think there's almost no problems left. And if you take on c8, queen takes c8, unfortunately, we don't have control over the c1 square, which means that black will get to play queen c5, rook f c8, and once again, hard for me to imagine how this can be worse for black. So
it all depends on rook c6. Yeah.
I think it very much hinges on rook c6 working.
But now the big question is, if we take queen c7, we'll be able to play knight c4 and use the pin along the c file or not? Because
seems like it's working, yeah. Very important. This is a very good point. Maybe we start by queen b5. Does it change anything? We start, hang on. We start by rook b1, maybe.
Wow, rook b1, yeah, that's...
Maybe this is what we do.
But rook b8?
And I wanted to play like queen c3 or something. And try to hint at some queen takes.
It's scary. It's very scary.
Yeah, it's becoming very concrete. Yeah, I don't know how this comes out. It's a very complicated position, but you can definitely get quite worried here with black.
Okay, here maybe thanks to knight c4, I'm exactly surviving now, but or not. No, it's just g3. Yeah. It's back rank issues, everything. And rook c6 also, on the board. Yeah, Vincent will
also
have
maybe
to...
queen b3. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is now will actually become the situation. And for black, if you don't take on c6, you're in a lot of trouble because white will play rook fc1, and this setup is stuck. Like you can't move any of those pieces. So yeah, Vincent will have to calculate his way out of this somehow.
Yeah, and this is very difficult in an Armageddon game with less time. Yeah, and you are anyway under pressure. You want to play some intuition and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a position that you can't really calculate. Yeah, like after takes queen c7, I was hoping for this knight c4 trick, but then you came up with rook b1. By the way, this is on the board. Takes queen c7 happened.
Yeah, I think he had to. I don't think he had any choice. He absolutely had to make these moves. And now a very important critical moment, because there's rook c1, rook b1, and there's also queen b5.
Yes.
And all of these moves have some merit. So maybe actually queen b5 is the smartest. I wait for you to play rook c8, and now I go rook b1.
Wow.
But he starts with rook b1. Yeah, he starts with rook b1, which is... The engine, for some reason, doesn't love this. I don't quite know why.
I mean, looks like rook b8 is kind of forced. Yeah, where can I put this knight?
Yeah, I can't imagine knight c8 is a good move. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
or
rook
b8, knight a8 is knight a8 maybe a move, and then trying to play queen d6 knights. I can't believe in that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to believe.
Yeah.
He goes rook b8, and now the question is: we have queen b5 maybe, and we have queen c3. Yeah.
Yes.
Because queen b5 we're allowing knight d7. I don't know if this is because even this, like, you have to consider some lines like this, right? And now b6. But the problem for white is I'm not in time to play knight b3. And I will probably never be in time to play knight b3. And then this doesn't work, because if the knight doesn't get to c5, we're definitely not fast enough. Queen c3 played. And knight, no. What's the solution? Maybe we just make a move, like, I don't know, h6, g6, king f8, some move.
Pretending that nothing is threatening, yeah?
Yeah, it's very difficult to solve, because you absolutely want to, like, you want to make a forcing move here. You want to calculate something and for that something to be a draw, but I don't think it is a draw, because your options are like knight takes a4 and knight c4, and both of those I think lose. If you take on a4, I take on b8, I play c7, queen c8, queen a5. This is completely lost.
Yes.
Just completely lost. And if you go knight c4, I think probably the strongest is take and this queen b3 move.
Well, but also g3 looked...
also g3 or something, yeah. Something.
Yeah, so I really like your suggestion, just not to do anything, but to start with h6 first.
Yeah, some kind of a waiting move. I don't know which one. Probably h6.
Creating Luft. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Engine disagrees, but yeah, by this point I've given up trying to understand what's going on here, so that, you know, to engine satisfaction.
Yeah, no, it's so difficult.
Chat says rook a8, a move we did not consider at all.
Oh my god, yeah, this is
probably
so
clever. Yeah, yeah, this is a clever move, because we've reestablished the idea of knight takes a4 and maybe even knight c4. And if queen c5, I guess we take. Do we?
Yeah, probably we take. Yeah.
Queen d5 though? Knight c3, queen b7. I think we've lost this one. So after queen c5, I have to be more precise again somehow. Knight d7, knight e5 maybe.
And Vincent goes h6. Yeah, he goes h6. It's the logical, natural move.
But yeah, the engine seems to suggest this is not great. Maybe rook b5 is strong. Maybe rook b5 is just strong now. And you kind of start running out of squares. I'll just briefly update our viewers on what's going on in the other Armageddon. The game is still continuing, but Anish is 2 pawns up and also ahead on the clock, so should win.
Yeah, it looks completely winning. And you opted for queen takes a5, queen c6, queen takes c6, queen a7, some very direct.
Rook b7, queen a6, yeah?
Yes.
Rook b7, queen a6, and everything is tied up, and we get to play a5 next move.
Yeah, wow. Then what do we do after queen a7? Do we have a move at all?
Yeah, but I don't see a choice. This is a problem. I just don't see. Queen d6 is what Vincent found. But yeah, the problem is like even if this is the best white has, it's very, very good. Some position like this, and then I don't know, g3, and we win slowly.
Yes.
But there might be something stronger. But yeah, it looks like Yuan Yi agrees that this is the choice. You take on b8. It doesn't look like black is losing by force, but all of those endgames are just very, very difficult to save. With the knight on b8 against the outside passer on the.
I think there was yesterday some stunning game by Hikaru against Wesley, exactly with this a pawn also, that queen knight versus queen knight, and then he just pushed the a pawn and he queened it. You just can't fight against this pawn. But okay, now I'm trying to sit on the a6 square, so the pawn did not got all the way to a6. Rook b8, knight b8, h3. Does this give us some hope?
Yeah, very understandable. And queen b4 played by Vincent. I don't like queen b4. I think queen b4 is a bit of a panicky move, and yeah, I think he's actually just lost it. He's clever. He wants queen a8, queen b8
check.
Yeah, queen b8 check, because otherwise you just resign. The problem is even that endgame is, I suspect, objectively lost.
Yeah.
This is a bit of an issue for Vincent here. And if white wants to not play that endgame, you can play something like queen c5, I assume. But yeah, I think the bigger issue is you can just take here, play king g3, and
but
practice shows
that. I mean, okay, I'm hoping to survive.
Yeah. Queen c5 chosen by Yuan Yi, and this is, hang on, queen a8 next move. Hang on.
Yeah.
He didn't play queen a8 after g3 for some reason. Why?
Oh, he didn't spotted it. Yeah, he went for queen b7.
Queen a8 was almost equal, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, how do you protect the pawn?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a massive choice, yeah.
Yeah, and queen b7, knight d4, queen b2. This is apparently losing.
King g2. Yeah, I guess the problem is you just don't have enough checks. Yeah, knight g4, you just go e takes d4.
Then queen e2 and...
Yeah, but those positions, even if the machine wins them... queen takes d4 is maybe smarter, actually, to keep the pawn on e3. And now we go queen b6, I guess, yeah. Queen b6, and Vincent needs to create something, but it seems too slow, yeah?
Yeah, it's too slow, yeah.
Too slow.
No, and I mean, he still had this 1 minute 50, but he was under tremendous pressure. Yeah, if he has the increment, then he can find queen a8 like this. He instantly played this queen b7, and that's it.
Yeah, that was a bit of a miraculous chance which he sort of walked past by blitzing a little bit too quickly. But this is an Armageddon, and he was very much under some clock pressure, so understandable. You can try something, but yeah, you're just never fast enough. I was going to suggest like queen a2, a6, d4, but even a7 is probably winning.
But I mean, also just ed4 was the problem.
But also just ed4 and
and then king h2 and king g1. Yeah.
Well, king g1 first, and then king h2 later, and then d5 if the queen gets to f3, right?
Yeah.
Some line like this, yeah.
It always wins.
Yeah, and he went for something like that, and I guess this is how. And now I guess even queen b7. Just go queen b7, a6, a7, a8. Yeah.
Yeah, queen b7 just seals
queen b7, yeah, and that's it. You don't have any checks. You don't have any checks. So that actually settles the lower bracket. In the lower bracket, we have Yuan Yi and Giri, who won that game against Prague after Prague won a brilliant game to come back with the white pieces in the rapid, and then lost the Armageddon by basically blundering the entire game away by move 10. And yeah, Vincent, that was a little bit self-inflicted. If we go back to the position on move 10, and yeah, we are now being shown the bracket, and it's obviously more relevant. But just coming back to this moment, why not just go 97?
Yeah, especially in such an important game, there is no reason to go for any of those forced lines. Yeah, it's too risky.
Yeah, just go knight d7. I'm not even sure why we're playing bishop f6. Just go castles, knight d7, c4, knight c5. Don't get involved with any of those tactical things. And I mean, maybe he could have saved the game later, but I'm looking at this particular decision and I'm thinking, I wouldn't have I would just try not to even calculate. I would try to make my life as easy as possible, as kind of autopilot-y as possible, so that I can play faster without having to solve difficult problems.
This was unfortunate. But we also see that what kind of incredible fights we have witnessed in these matches. Prague was bouncing back. Vincent was very close. He should have won the first game against you with the pawn up position. Then all the pressure would have been on you. Finally, you, Yanji's more experience prevailed. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that seems like a very fair description. Yeah, Vincent was very much in charge of game one, and then somehow, step by step, his advantage minimum got smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually that game was a draw. Then he played quite well in game two to hold with black, and I think he made it slightly more difficult for himself in this game. I think there was just no need to get involved with all of this exchange sacrifice lines here. Maybe when he was playing bishop f6, he just did not expect bishop a3, and it sort of threw him off his game here a little bit.
Yeah,
hard to say.
I also wonder, when your opponent plays in a must-win situation, the call, with the third move e3, why actually do you need these adventures with c5? I mean, why don't you just play something very solid with e6, bishop d6, b6, bishop b7, and just play a normal, natural, solid structure and wait, yeah?
I don't disagree, yeah. As somebody who played a ton of Colle with the white pieces when I was a kid, just playing the reverse Meron. Yes, you're down a tempo, but you're just not going to be much worse at all, so...
Well, and the pawn is not yet on c6, yeah? That's also very important, yeah? Yeah, so basically the c5, objectively, maybe this is the ambitious way, but in an Armageddon, when you are very exhausted already, it was the second match of today for both players. I believe that something very simple and just routine chess is probably what your brain requires.
Yeah, so just to wrap up a little bit, this ends the lower bracket. We still have two players alive in the lower bracket, Anish and Yuan Yi. And in the upper bracket, we have the finals. In the finals, there is definitely Nodebek. And then there is still something needs to be, announced. The situation in the MVL Kramnik match needs to be resolved somehow. I don't envy whoever is the admin in that situation, because this is two very, very well-respected players who already in that match kind of demonstrated that, they understand sportsmanship and everything, but also MVL took a pretty strong stand there, saying that he felt sort of software wasn't allowing him to play chess properly. I don't really want to be anyone in that situation. It's no fun at this stage. I don't know what the correct solution is. I guess we'll wait for a little while for some news, and if there's no news forthcoming, I will once again, now that we're almost done with our broadcast, I will remind people that Division 1 and Division 3 are actually in progress, so you have options.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I also feel like maybe we should wait a little. On the other hand, the situation is pending already for more than an hour. So if there is a solution coming, maybe there is some progress. We don't know. Yeah,
our overseer, the all-known Satirius, is also saying that there's absolutely no way for us to even approximately guess when that decision will be taken and what the decision will be. So I think we are not cheating our viewers out of too much value here by saying that now there is definitely Division 1 to watch. The winner's final is in progress. Game 1 between Fabi and Hikaru is is now at a very exciting stage there. 28 moves in, very sharp position. So there is definitely an option which I myself will be taking at some point of watching that. And we still have 2 more days of Division 2 to cover. Whatever happens with the admin decision in the MVL Kramnik game.
Yes, I think this is a very good idea, because we just can't wait forever, and there is all this action going on in the other channels. So I also encourage everyone to tune in there and follow all the action, live action there. And we wait for the news basically with the Twitter, or I mean, we will get to know what happens finally.
We will find out. I guess at the same time as everybody else, we'll find out when the decision will be taken. There will be, I'm sure, an announcement on the official chess.com page and elsewhere. And once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's a pleasure to cover these events. Extremely strong players playing every day. Very exciting format. I will once again say that I personally think double elimination and chess go quite well together. I think it's pretty good to give people a second life, so to speak, to try and recover from one loss. I don't really see why it would work for other esports and not work for chess. I genuinely don't understand that argument. So I'm really enjoying covering this. Really enjoying covering it with Peter, we've known each other forever, and it's always a pleasure to talk chess with Peter. So we'll do 2 more days of that, and we hope that you tune in tomorrow and day after tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. I also would like to mention one more time the incredible sportsmanship by Vladimir Kramnik and Maxim Vasilyev, and we are feeling really sorry for both of them that they are in this situation. We hope that it will be resolved fairly, that with which both players will be able to live with, and can't wait for the action to resume tomorrow.
Absolutely. See you then.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts. Chessable. Take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Sam Shankland. I was the US champion in 2018. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if I believe there is an easy solution to something, I'm giving it. No questions asked. Thanks much, and I wish you the best for all your studying.
Another day, another way for me to open up to you. Another day, another way for me to open up to you. I used to worry I would wake up one day only to find with nothing more to say. Now I'm decided.
Hello, this is Christoph Zielecki, and welcome to my Keep It Simple 1D4 course.
When I saw her for the first time, it was love at first sight. I love how rich and complex she is, how sharp and principled her first steps, how graceful her movement. Paris is the city of love. find my love for the French defense.
It doesn't look like much, but neither would a Sicilian defense to the untrained eye. This is a performance enhancer. You don't see it? How about now? Manage your air quality, sharpen your performance, change the game with air.
It's time to take control.